Derivative Jill.
Greetings and felicitations.
You know, I really wish they'd let us play music up here. Make these long trips go by a lot faster.
It's against regulations.
Yeah, I never understood that.
They just don't want us having a dance party when a proximity alert goes off.
See, that's a dumb reason. Because we'd already be on our feet, ready for action.
Hello and welcome to Shore Leave number 12. We're here today talking about whatever we like on a Friday. And today I have my friend here, Admiral Teague. Hello to you.
Hello, Jill. It is I, superannuated Picard, and Admiral Teague. And Admiral Teague, how you doing?
Okay, as long as it's both of you. And
we're both trapped inside of the same robot body, Jill.
Oh, that is terrifying. So just like Frank and Data.
I tried to explain to Bev that I could satisfy her and am fully functional, but unfortunately she was repulsed.
Well, yeah, because she doesn't want to change your diaper anymore.
I can't believe that as a robot I still need to defecate. It was the lowest moment of my Starfleet career was in that bathroom stall, softly crying out to myself and then loudly crying out to anyone who'd listen. What was going on with that? I am so scarred from my so-called job as a fucking Star Trek reviewer. We spent 2.5 minutes watching Patrick Stewart, the robot, take a shit, and he breaks down and starts crying.
That's exactly what would happen if he really were just a replicant android or whatever the hell he is. They can't even be sure what they want him to be. They just want him to be exactly like a human, but he's an android. Just like they have Borg, who look just exactly like a human, but they're Borg. They don't have any of the accoutrements.
You know, you're right. And since you said the B word, let's go right to it. I'm so excited that we've moved on from dismal, and I apologize to everyone for the sound of New York City construction outside my house. I have every problem a city dweller could have. Crime, blight, construction. But I'm so glad you guys have moved on from a show that I'm only okay with. And I'm sorry to everybody in chat who loves it, because I know it's a lot of people's favorite show. But hey, Kronos.
You're so nice
and hey, Franco.
You're so nice to people who like the film.
No. I'm talking about Deep Space Nine. If you want to call it that, go ahead. I know a lot of people love Deep Space Nine, but now we've moved on to a show that I really like. I love Voyager.
There's lots of Deep Space Nine that I love. It is still real Star Trek. Not anything from 60s.
It's real Star Trek.
2005. So, okay,
Listen,
I get what you're saying now.
In the hierarchy... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I didn't realize we were talking about Saturday Night Star Trek. So, if you guys don't know about Saturday Night Star Trek, Clobberin Times has a show that he runs with his first officer, Raquel Briggs. And you get to submit your reviews for each of the episodes. We're on Voyager now. So, you submit your reviews in the chat, and Clobby and Raquel will read and comment on them, and it's super cool fun.
Not only that, but they're really indulgent, and they'll give some Star Trek thought from their amazing Star Trek minds to your Star Trek ideas. So your chat, you really get you really get something back for what you put into it. If you ask a question, Quabi's got amazing encyclopedic knowledge, as does the rest of the panel, including amazing RM Briggs. Here's the Clobberin Times link to drop into the chat, unless you've already beat me to it, because you're so good.
Because I am so good.
She is that good. Ladies and gentlemen, I am lucky to be able to be with the best today.
Yes, and also, speaking of the best, I have a subset of the best chat of all the chats of different channels. We all have similar circles around here, so I see you guys all around YouTube, and I'm so glad to see you here today. Franco Walker had the first like. That is quite monumental. And, of course, Admiral Teague was second. Lemon Pie. Hello, Lemon Pie.
Hell!
And Sir Jacob love Sir Jacob. I just randomly found Sir Jacob one day playing video games, and ever since he's been sharing every single one of my links. Ever since I started on YouTube. So
You're a wise man. You are the John the Baptist of better pop culture.
And hello and welcome to Canadian Spider-Man.
You mean Toker?
Oh, where did he get that nickname?
Oh, I got a nickname and he got a nickname last night. Let's just leave it at that.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys are having fun on other shows.
We had so much fun. We had so much fun.
Canadian Spider-Man says, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to this channel if you want to save the kittens. It really helps Jill. It really helps grow this channel too. Let's get Jill to 500 subscribers. You know what? I love that you said save the kittens, but I'm not the one who saves the kittens. That's Susan Dolan. So she has her Mouser Brigade, and I have her link where if you donate to her, she will save kittens.
The city is saving kittens across the hall from my apartment right now. My neighbor.
All you have to do is subscribe.
Yeah,
who's saving kittens?
The city is saving kittens right now. My neighbor passed away, and she had 15 cats.
Holy moly!
Yeah, the hallway didn't smell so great most days, but
if you have
they'll go into a better home.
You have to have 15 litter boxes. That's a lot of litter.
Well, what happened was she smelled so much like cats that she ended up jobless. It was
right.
It was. I was just like, look, it might even be mean to have 15 cats in an apartment that's basically the same size as mine. Like, I could have one medium-sized dog or smaller without it being too restricted.
Yeah, where do you put 15 litter boxes anyway? That would be ridiculous.
Staple them to the ceiling? I don't fucking know exactly. I mean, God rest her soul. I feel bad, but she had a long run. She was a crazy old hippie, and no one could talk to her. So I was just, she had been just hoarding cats. So I was like, did it ever occur to you the cats might be better off on the street, Steph?
Yeah, when there's that many, was she even feeding them properly? And clearly she wasn't toileting them properly.
I think their last meal might have been, let's not talk about it.
Oh, no. Oh, I wish you hadn't said that. That was too descriptive without being descriptive at all.
She Roger Corby'd herself.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, she was nice, too. It was a bummer.
Yeah. Man, I'm sorry. Is she the same one who would bang on your door trying to get help, but you can't really help her? That was a different lady?
I live in yeah, right. You would think I live in an old folks home, but no, there's a couple of people in my building who are just like really old. The lady upstairs is like 80, and she's kind of afraid to walk around the neighborhood, even though there's no reason to be. So yeah, sometimes she comes to my door, and she's always worried that something happened to me, and she forgets that she saw me. So some days she comes to my door like every 15 minutes and checks to make sure I'm alive. It's validating, I guess. I'm curious about this silence. Well, everybody, it's so nice to see people here. I'm thinking that Jill may have a technical problem, so let's see what we got going on. I see the live time clock ticking by, so there's no way that this isn't live. So our communications officer is working on the communications array. And anybody want to talk baseball? Just kidding. Is that you coming back, Jill?
Yeah, I just
What
got
happened?
Back. I don't know. My Ethernet decided to blip out, and it came back. So I'm going to turn on my Wi-Fi as a backup. It usually is on, but my laptop's decided it wants to turn it off every once in a while.
Yeah, you sound fine now, like as far as we can hear you, but the like the first effect of roboting is the Demi Moore filter. Like you've got the Demi Moore filter on your voice. It's a little husky, it's a little gravelly, but I know it's not how you actually sound, but it's coming across fine. It's not hard to listen to or anything.
How about now?
It's now it's actually very clear. We get the full rich resonance of your voice, like a glass of wine from the Chardonnay Valley before the rain.
Hooray. Well, I wanted to mention Kronos asked about the thumbnail for this live stream. It is the picture of the cave with the kitty cat at the front, the giant cat. And yes, somebody asked. He asked if it was from TAS. It was.
It is,
from
right?
Once Upon a Planet, which is the sequel to Shore Leave. Yes.
Oh, wow.
The animated series Star Trek.
I don't know if I'm ever going to get around to that. We've got so much Star Trek to watch in so many different arcs,
Yep.
and
But
like on my show, we do
need
like
it.
more theories. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, but you can get lots more theories from any Star Trek, and this is real Star Trek. And it's only 20-minute. It's only 20-minute episodes.
That's true.
So-
You know what?
And there are
I-
only 22 of them. And if you
And
need,
I
if you've been watching too much SNW, and you need a palate cleanser, this would be it.
You know, I don't know what to tell you about that one because, without getting into anything, because there's really nothing to tell. For the last 4 episodes of that show, what we do before we start the show's plot is we throw 4 or 5 flashbangs at the audience, and we go 2 or 3 dreams deep and into another dimension and then travel time to wipe away all their cumbersome canon just to have a story. And then the story kicks in around 5 minutes in. And
Wait a
then we
minute.
count executive
did
producers.
you just say that SNW retconned itself?
Every episode has its own timeline unrelated to any other episode or any other Star Trek of any kind ever.
Really? And that's officially the way they're framing this season? Is that
No, of course they're not admitting that. We're just too dumb to see the 77 Easter eggs that make it make sense. But I can tell you this, 2 weeks ago, Connie, as I call La'an, who is Khan's great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-granddaughter. So Connie, she likes Kirk. She likes a boy, which is so gross. But anyway, she likes this boy. And because they wanted to ship them, what we had to do is she walks out of her quarters. And well, there are no men and women on this show. Everyone acts like a child. But she walks out
you
of
have
her.
to be careful what you say because, like, I'm taking all of this as fact. So.
Oh, okay. Let me unpack this then. I'll explain it as I would to a normal person. I forget that you haven't watched much of this. All right, so
I've only watched season 1.
this is how we do a love story on SNW. La'an, who I call Connie for obvious reasons, Connie comes out of her quarters and things are just weird and there's a Dutch angle. Then, like, something else happens and we realize she's in another dimension. Then something happens and she starts to trip out. Then she goes on the bridge and
When
things
you say
change
something
again.
happens, is there some kind of anomaly
There-
that occurs that
No,
is
we
measurable?
really. It might just be the camera sweeping around. It's hard to tell. The show is very deceptive. They do not start the show. What happens is we do previously on, and without saying, remember on like Next Generation at the end of the season when you'd get to the next year to find out what happened at the end of like, there are 4 lights or any other 2-parter. They would say previously on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah, they have that on every episode for this show, right?
No, they don't. Well, they have previously on is on screen in text, but you know, at the end of that segment on Star Trek: The Next Generation, they would say, "And now the conclusion." So you would know when the story starts.
Right.
They never say that. What happens is they're like previously on, and that stays on the screen for an indeterminate amount of time. Then that week's show sort of starts without warning. And things are happening, and we're like, wait, did this already happen? Is this happening now? If the episode relates to any other episode, it only relates to that one episode, and nothing else that happened ever happened. Then we literally flashbang reality. In the case of Connie and...
Why did Connie fall asleep? Did somebody smack her in the head and did she get a concussion? What was the impetus of the beginning of this episode? Because I can't even begin. You're talking
It's so
about
hard to say. Like,
I don't know
I
what you're
believe if I remember correctly, what happens is she simply wakes up, has a weird feeling, gets into the hallway. Things look the same but different. She's weirded out. That's the only clue we have to go on. They go Dutch angles, which means things could be changing again. We just don't know. She gets into the turbo lift, and when the turbo lift opens, instead of Pike and Rebecca Romaine, when the doors open, it's fake Kirk.
But
And-
once
and
you
they're
step into non-reality, you've already lost your viewers because they don't perceive any of it as even being real, so it doesn't even matter. So,
Well, you know it's not real because their Starfleet logos are different. They're just
Okay.
squares.
But we don't even know why we're in this other dimension.
No, well, I know why. We're there because the dimension that we're in is so complicated and so filled with spinning wheels and gears, and that it is so wrong for a man and a woman to want to be with each other, that when this Kirk pulled that Connie in for a kiss that she so wanted because she stares him down for a minute, she stares him down. They lock eyes. And there's like a moment, and he looks at her, and then they really look at each other, and he puts his hand behind her head, and he pulls her in for a kiss that she wants. Her mouth opens as his mouth opens. It's a totally willing kiss. So that Kirk, he has to pay the ultimate price for that because he didn't say, "May I now kiss you?" They had their moment. They both felt it, and they kissed. So he was killed for that.
Oh, but what was the purpose of the entire scene? Because why would they have any sort of relationship? She just suddenly kisses Kirk. What?
When she gets blown back into her reality by a series of equally anomalous, weird non-events, we know that we're back to her reality because she stumbles out of her quarters again, and this time people have more correct-looking uniforms than the first time. And when she gets to the bridge, we see the rest of the cast for the only time. We stay away from showing the whole cast ever at any time. This is left over from last season. They look over their shoulders and go, "Oh, hi, Connie," and turn around, and she's like, it was all a dream. And she goes back to her cabin, and she FaceTimes with fake Kirk, and she's like, "I just wanted to see, how you were." And he's like, "We don't even really know each other, Connie." And she's like, "I know, it's almost as though I just wanted to talk to you." And he's like, "Perhaps when we get on the space station over at Regula 8 or whatever it might have been, we'll have a glass of Tranya and talk this over." She's like, "I would like that." No, they didn't.
Okay.
I'm trying to help it be better. I'm a better Star Trek writer by mistake than they are on purpose. He says they're going to get together for a drink, but then last week when they run into each other, he has to introduce himself to her, and she has to introduce herself to him, even though they FaceTimed and made a date 2 weeks earlier. They forgot about it, or the episodes are out of sequence. Last week, Uhura was sleep-deprived and crazy, so M'Benga gives her a gun. I kid you not.
And is this still a fake reality? Was that a fake reality?
Uhura goes...
Well,
I don't...
she's already been commissioned a phaser. So what are you talking about? A gun?
Well, Uhura, I mean a phaser. A phaser. She goes to the doctor. She says, "I'm all messed up. I don't know right from wrong. I don't know up from down. I can't sleep. I'm tripping out." And he's like, "Take this gun. Take this phaser."
She already has a phaser. She has a phaser. She has a communicator. She has a tricorder. She doesn't really use her phaser that much. Once she's told she's too nuts to make any judgments, she only hangs out on the bridge cuddling her phaser in her lap. Okay, well, I am used to the field having people who are always completely mentally deranged, and everyone has some kind of psychological issue, and they celebrate it. They celebrate their mental illness.
She knocks out Captain Kirk with one punch. She one punches Captain Kirk. He's out cold. We wake up later in her quarters, and he doesn't know what's going on. And then he apologizes for not taking the punch better and tells her she's the bestest ever. I kid you not. I kid you not.
Was there any purpose to the episode that was all a dream? Was there something?
Three of the 4 episodes we've had this season, 3 of the 6 episodes have been purely dreams that we can write off. I don't know if we ever come back out as many levels as we go deep. We never go one dream deep. It's a dream within a dream, inside a montage, inside a trip, inside a reality, inside time travel. They really have to throw a bunch of flashbangs at your brain to tell a story. And if a man kisses a woman without asking first, he dies. It's weird how that held up. It's weird because when a female grabs and kisses a man, she survives. It's not a problem. She's okay. The story rewards her.
I've been watching a lot of 90s TV, and even when they got progressive in terms of showing a guy to be a jerk, they always, at the end of the episode, there's always some kind of redemption arc for him.
Right.
He becomes a better person. Everybody learns a lesson, and even the women are making mistakes and learning that they need to see things from a different perspective. But today they cut out the part where everybody learns and gets along. They
You know
just-
what?
They just say you suck and you're always going to suck, and now you must be punished in some way.
And hello, Ari Bavel in the chat.
Yeah,
you know what?
I know. I do want to say hello also to Pop Culture Curator and Ariba.
Hey,
Well,
good to see you there, PCC. Hope all's well. You know what? We don't have to get into like warp speed or anything to talk about how strange. I call it strange new lows is. I'm assuming that at some point in your life you may have kissed someone, passionately. Not to get too personal here, but like you may have, and all of us may have kissed someone passionately. Now, when you lock eyes with that person and your heads start moving towards each other, has a man ever put his hand behind the back of your head as he kissed you?
yeah.
Did that fill you with rage and make you feel vengeful the way it filled the show's writers with rage and made them have to delete Kirk? I mean, it was crazy how that happened. I was like, oh no, he
I don't think I've
he
ever
pulled her
felt-
in.
Like if I wasn't asking for the kiss, maybe, but that's never happened.
Right, and here's the
You're
other
right,
thing:
Steven.
if you're
There was
not asking for the kiss, you break off the eye contact, or you start talking about something else to change the subject.
And you put distance.
And yeah, right. And let's just pretend it's you and I in this situation, right? If I were to say to
no.
you, Jill, you're looking quite fetching right now, and what I want to do is give you this piece of paper which says I would like to kiss you, and if you could just initial it there, we could get on with putting our lips against each other, if that's quite all right with you.
I
That
would
kind of
have
ruin the
already
moment.
been out the door. I
Yeah, so how does the human race go on in the
might-
24th century? How do
might
these people
call the
survive?
therapist for you.
And I would very much appreciate that. How do these people reproduce? How do they survive in the 23rd century in New Trek? And by the way, we blew all the Star Trek movies out of canon last week. There's no way that this is the same continuity. They can't lie about it anymore, even though they will. This is we've overrun Kirk. Stardate, Kirk and Pike have met in a different way. Uhura is now the reason Kirk
It's
and
crazy
Spock
that you
know
even
each
have
other.
to explain this to people.
It's not an explanation, it's an apology.
No, but everyone should just implicitly, even fans of this filth should be cognizant of the fact that this has nothing to do with the Star Trek created from 66 to 2005. Even if
It
they
has
like
absolutely
not
nothing.
Star Trek.
It's, you know what? It says a lot that they went outside of what we consider real Star Trek and took the failed and mocked Cage that they were told, this is not good enough. And Gene Roddenberry, a proud man, said, you know what? You're right. It's not good enough. And he fixed
love
it
the
up.
Cage.
But I love the menagerie. The Cage is too flawed and not good enough for Star Trek. It just falls below the line.
You're right.
It's
It's
not-
not canon. The
it's
Cage
not
is
Star Trek.
canon. It is.
It's not Star Trek.
It is not.
No, the menagerie is
not-
Star Trek.
It is not canon, but I love it, and it does a good job of saying what Star Trek should be, even though Spock is not at all what he should be, and the captain is not exactly what he should be. But I don't think he's a bad captain. And
Well, then season 5 of SNW's View, they made a show based on the Cage. It's called Strange New Worlds, and ain't it great? We have a Spock who smiles and is emotional. We have the Earth Planetary
Are you
Defense
kidding
League.
me? No way. The Cage.
Oh, they
is a
think they
great
do.
Science fiction story.
Oh, they
because
never
it
touched the
has
Cage on
done it.
this, no.
Yeah, no, it is a good story of a race of aliens who have they
We don't go to planets on Strange New Worlds.
they're not able to make children anymore, and so they're trying to rebuild their world, and they're
They're-
so intelligent, but they still can't figure out how to do what it takes to survive anymore, and so they
Are we talking about the Telosians?
Yeah, the Telosians. I think
They invented reality
incredible.
TV. They
They
invent
did.
reality TV. I love when Star Trek presages the future.
Yeah, no, I don't ever want to say that the Cage has anything to do with SNW, even though they do look at it as an excuse to make Spock human. I do see that, but in terms of
Think we have a
this was a real science fiction episode, and it was lots of fun, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of watching
want-
that episode.
I want to make one thing perfectly clear. I might make a few jokes about Deep Space Nine being a little dark, but I love it and think it's real Star Trek. I might make a few jokes about things that people find uncomfortable, like that Star Trek V is only a dream. Sorry, when Gene Roddenberry's on tape saying it, I'm going to go with Gene Roddenberry. People don't like the idea that I call my...
wait a minute. You have a clip of Gene Roddenberry saying that Star Trek V is like a dream?
It's very easy for him to say that he'd find video and proof of him saying that he prefers that explanation. He says he prefers...
I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I'll dig it up. The thing is, it's a lot of them get disregarded because what happens is, though he said it, he was saying it at places like sci-fi conventions and Star Trek conventions, and he was also being written off as bitter, so it wasn't getting major coverage. And also, this was back in the days where the press knew what they Paramount knew what it was doing. They're like, our Star Trek people are fighting. Let's kind of keep it quiet.
Yeah, he wasn't a big fan of the movies in general, except for his first one.
But you know who says Star Trek? You look no further than Doomcock for someone who proves that Star Trek is just a dream. He has a watch-along, Star Trek V. He has a watch-along for it. He commentates on it.
What Admiral Teague is talking about in terms of watch-along to Star Trek V, if you want to put on Star Trek V and then put on an audio commentary of Doomcock, he has a complete audio commentary that goes along with the movie where he's talking
about the movie,
and also all of his theories, or the theory that it is a dream. It isn't technically his theory, but he puts the commentary in an essay format that makes it his own. And it is a very good commentary. And in order to listen to this commentary, you have to you need it. It's on his Patreon.
I love that Doomcock. I couldn't believe that when I did get to be on PCB for that one time, Doomcock and I just very quickly mentioned Star Trek V, and he was like, well, I think it's just a dream, and I disagree with anyone who says otherwise. And I'm like, man, I'm glad you said it. Because, yes, the proof is out there that Gene Roddenberry went... And here's the thing. Did Gene Roddenberry release a press release that says, I decanonize my own show and don't want money? Gene Roddenberry was a smart man. He didn't say that. What happened was at Star Trek conventions when people said, our theory is that this is just a dream, he's like, I like that theory and prefer it. That's as much proof as you got.
Yeah, I like the theories too, and the theories are fun to think about. They're not canon, much like the Cage isn't canon, but they're also
much like Will Decker is. Oh, maybe that could be your poll. Is Will Decker Matt Decker's son in your mind? Because that's not on screen. Or warp recalibration. Is warp 9 in TNG as it is in TOS? Because it's not on screen. So if people want to make these hard, fast rules.
Well, yeah, that's right. If it isn't on screen, it isn't canon. But
see, I'm not one for hard, fast rules. I'm not one who will hold you to a rule. If you say it's not on screen, therefore it's not true.
Just saying
it's only in a book.
But just saying it's not canon is not saying it's not worth exploring.
Right, I agree, and that's why
there's a website out there that does the warp calculations for TNG and TOS, and they are very much different. And you can do all the math on it to see how different they are.
My most impressive moment of math was PDB figuring out the speed of the Voyager based on the speed of the Orville, and figuring out that the Orville was 77 times faster and would have made it home in 35 weeks.
Yeah, I did.
I trust PDB. I trust him.
I have reviewed all 3 seasons of the Orville, and I did the same math, and I was also shocked by the relative speed of the Orville.
About 10 months.
Star Trek, it is outrageous.
77 times faster.
That they stay so close to Earth the entire run of all 3 seasons, because their ship is so fast they can go anywhere they want, and they just stick around at home. It's kind of fun.
They're kind of booking when he says we're going 10 light years an hour. They're not going as fast as they can, but they're kind of, going a little faster. The episode suggests they're going a little faster. But if the Orville can easily cruise at 10 light years an hour, it would have made it from where the caretaker is back to Earth, or as I like to call it, Sector 001, in about 10 months, 35 weeks, something like that. Franco, I loved... I'm going to say this, Palpatine. I loved Star Trek. I love Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, Franco.
But it's not my favorite.
Deep Space Nine too. It has some issues and it has some problems with the writers wanting to go a little bit darker than the way what Star Trek should be. But overall, I think that it still retains the hope in certain aspects, and it still at least acknowledges that the utopia is supposed to be there, even when it's not.
So when you watched Voyager this week, you're stuck in season 1, so you might feel like you're stuck in DS9, but around season 3, when Voyager gets really good, I want to just say three things about Voyager. 1, remember who said it first. It was I who called her Captain Insaneway first, all right? I called her Captain Insaneway. Please have fun with it. I do not own it. Say it as many times as you want, but that explains most of what she does. I like her. The thing that we forget about...
She's just a bit...
Always in charge. Oh, she's totally inconsistent. But she also, she's pretty. You don't realize that because she can be so in control. She's so military that all gender seems to flow away from her as she gives orders and is simply a captain. A captain worth following. I would risk my life for Captain Insaneway. I know that she probably wouldn't feel too bad if I got killed, but how many other people destroy 15 Borg cubes in one episode?
Well, that's a lot of fun. And Franco Walker says Voyager has quite a few problems. Captain Janeway is the biggest problem. She makes really bad decisions. And
half the time.
Episode.
Half the time.
Right.
Can I just say this?
It is.
She gets better. Tuvix is the bottom of her decision-making process, the very bottom. And also, the thing is this. She doesn't realize that she's actually Commander Adama. She's on a lost ship trying to find Earth. Does that sound familiar, Jill? She's got a ragtag fugitive crew made up of many different factions, or 2 different factions. It's a lot like another sci-fi show that's also very good.
Okay.
It's Star Trek's answer to Battlestar Galactica, in my opinion. It's a good show.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. And Ronald D. Moore did want to make it Battlestar Galactica, but they didn't want him to do that, so he decided to go make
walks.
Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, he did. And he went to go make the reboot of Battlestar.
Wait, can you show me proof of that? I'm just kidding. I know we've all heard that story. No, we've all heard that story. Don't worry about it.
Okay,
with that one, I'm sure we've all heard that story. If anyone else needs proof, they could. I'm just kidding around. I find I get called out a lot. But no, we heard that one, and I heard a similar story. Now this one I don't have proof of, and haven't heard from a lot.
When I asked for the video, of Gene Roddenberry, it's because I want to hear Gene Roddenberry talk about Star Trek, and so if you say something,
I will hunt for it. Jill, when you pointed out the overgeneralization about spiders, I have been down a rabbit hole trying to figure out how many breeds of poisonous spiders live in South Africa. I have done it aggregate. I have done it by species. I can't get to 90%, and I'm going to blame it on the fact it was a biographer, not an etymologist.
Right, and so I just wanted to make sure that it was I didn't mean for it to become some kind of thing.
We didn't let it rabbit hole the show, but I was like, you know what? Like, I actually do owe some context on this answer, but I take it seriously.
There are very few poisonous spiders in each place where there are poisonous spiders, so I think they're pretty evenly distributed among the places that have them.
Australia has the most because it simply has the most land area. However, out of the 42,000 species of venomous spiders in the world, there are 5 which are venomous and poisonous to human beings in South Africa alone, which is only one nation on a continent rather than a continent. And for all we know, every poisonous spider in New Zealand and in Australia could be of the same species.
And see, that's why I'm glad I actually asked that question, because now that sounds right to me.
Yeah, no, I'm glad too. I look forward to people's chats when they're in good faith. I look forward to debate in good faith.
Well,
I look forward to being called out.
God, the Son of Jesus Christ Saves. I worked with an old timer back around 2000. The guy had every type of Star Trek stuff. Oh, great to see you.
That is so great, and thank you for joining us. You've come to the right show. Hello, hail, Nemesis of Eden. Venomous spiders, not poisonous. Well, that's the thing. Venom and poison are slightly different, and I think you will find out that there's more to Venom than just some MCU character they can't get right.
Hello to Darlick451. Great to see you. And also to Sean Carter. Make sure to check out his channel if you want to see a great build of the Enterprise C. Absolutely gorgeous turnout on that.
I can't figure out Stream Elements. I put him into my shout-out document. We promote him every Saving Star Trek.
Oops, you're eating on air. I don't know what are you eating?
No, I'm not. My dentures fell out. I'm old Picard.
Okay.
It might be a taco.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's why I mentioned taco trucks earlier. I think that was before we went live. Lemon pie. Oh, wait, I said hi to lemon pie before. Speaking of cats, mine wants feeding. I'll be right back.
I love how all the people that we talk to on a regular basis are so dedicated to their pets and so sweet.
Yeah. Franco Walker also says, I treated myself to the DVD last month. It's better than my VHS copy that's been played to death. No.
Of which movie? Generations?
I don't know. Yeah, I know, right? I don't know. I just picked a random chat and I don't know what it is connected to.
Am I allowed to reveal the one rule we had for me last time I was here? What the one word I was not allowed to say because it was funny? Do you remember the word?
Which one?
I'll put it in the private chat before I say it. I think it's harmless.
Oh, that one? The only time you can't say that is on Tuesdays because we're talking about real Star Trek.
Okay.
But today you can say it.
I've come up with a term for New Trek Romulans and Vulcans. They're both underhanded, lying scumbags like every character on New Trek, so I call them Vulculans because there's no point separating them out. There's none.
They don't separate them either. They live on Nevar now or some crap.
Do they? Oh.
I don't know. I don't really pay attention.
It's such a forgettable show that I've been tasked with watching, and now they go 5 realities deep every episode. There's no saying what happened at all this season, except that Rebecca Romaine hit her goal weight, Jill.
Okay.
She's no longer a girl in a long jacket. She went to a standard uniform. Maybe she ran into a young Ensign Jellicoe who whipped her into shape about that lack of discipline.
Okay. Ariba Bell says, do I have to leave and go catch up on SNW? I have not watched any of season 2. Admiral Teague is just explaining it to me.
Check out my show.
Just
listen to my live watch, and then we never speak of it again.
It sounds like I'm not missing anything.
You're missing Appion having a 20-minute meltdown about how angry he is as a Star Trek fan and offended he is as a viewer of cinema, where he just absolutely went dark helmet yesterday during the show.
Well, it's a pretty simple equation for me. As long as Secret Hideout is making it, it's not going to be Star Trek. And until they quit making Star Trek, there's no hope. Mark Harkness says to Reba Bell, you only have to catch up with SNW if you don't have a pain stick handy.
And Mark Harkness is someone who has been a really great and loyal member of my fleet, and I can count on him with the great observations, just right there with the information. Mark Harkness has read like every issue of Starlog and memorized it, and has a million Star Trek theories too.
Oh, I would love to hear all of that. That sounds fun.
Oh, he just injects them right into the main on my channel, and we've had to circle back and do half a show on Mark Harkness comments.
Sweet. Cinema Gulp says, and hello, Ben from Cinema Gulp. Hello, you guys. Did you ever get into the 1995 reboot series for The Outer Limits? Boy, did I ever. When I was a kid, I had a little bitty TV with rabbit ears, and the only thing I could really pick up is the channel that had Outer Limits on anytime when I was watching TV at night. And so I watched a bunch of the 90s Outer Limits when I was a kid and put them on VHS.
That was a good Outer Limits, and I think that one had a theme song by members of the Grateful Dead. Am I right? Or that was Tales from the Dark Side. Tales from the Dark Side might have been that one.
I know, it was Yeah, for Outer
Yeah.
Limits, it was just the classic don't adjust your television set.
You know what I loved about the 80s and 90s is that we had no shortage of disposable, consumable, enjoyable, standalone sci-fi TV. Hey, Raquel.
Hello to Raquel.
Sorry, I'm
We
just
have
seeing
to
all our
make
friends
eye
show up in the
contact.
chat.
First eye contact. Chronos,
That's right.
seriously. First
It's like,
eye contact.
if Jill and just to be you know, plain spoken with you here, if Jill and I would have a romantic encounter, we would rub fingers together, right?
Oh, well,
Touch
that's
we would
right.
touch
'Cause I am,
touch the tips of our
Vulcan,
fingers.
So that makes sense.
And I am a robot. Upload of Picard.
Chrono says, "Why does Jill need a starship? To get away from Earth." Mark
Your
Harkness.
God, don't you know?
Mark Harkness says there is a very good theory which explains Spock in the cage, but would never fit SNW. The theory being that Spock noticed that the original number one, who is very efficient, was able to be both efficient and have emotions. During the cage, he was experimenting with letting him show more, but after realizing how little he contributed to Pike's rescue, he clamped down on his emotions. And
There you go.
that's
I
the
like that.
production-
I like that.
That's actually the production reason, because the real reason why Spock did that was because the actor for
He was too
Captain
emotional.
Pike, Jeffrey Hunter was too unemotional. Actually, he played his role too straight, so he was the straight man. So
I like how his other
Right.
job that he wanted to and fantasized about was Space Pimp.
Yeah, but the point is, he was the straight man, so Spock couldn't also be the straight man. So Spock played it up a little bit to give some balance to Jeffrey Hunter's performance of Captain Pike.
Right. We would with and by the way, if you're going to throw down, and I know Jill's not, if someone wants to throw down, oh, the cage is really Star Trek, what you're saying is, I don't like watching DeForest Kelley and William Shatner, and I don't like the way they changed Spock into the Spock that everyone loves. I like this weird Spock from one episode that doesn't act like the other Spocks, but acts like SNW Spock. A little bit.
Yeah, but to compare the entire episode to S&W is a complete disservice to the work and the talent that went into the writing for that episode.
I
has
felt
some
that
charisma.
way on the first episode of SNW where they said previously on and they showed scenes from the cage. I was like, yep, it's not Star Trek.
Quantum
Meaning
Drive?
meaning
Oh,
SNW. Oh, that's the
Orville.
Orville.
yeah, that's the Orville. We can talk about Quantum Drive too. That's fun. They've gone
Plaid. I
What's
think
that?
does that Franco Walker might have been in the chat when we were talking about time travel a little bit on, I think it was Manorama, and we were saying like time travel, it's like with the mechanisms and stuff, your time travel story, it's not really about whether the time travel makes sense or is good. It just has to be immersive. Terminator 2, it makes no sense. It's technical magic, right? No one walked out of there saying, what a shit movie, that first 4
Wait a
minutes
minute,
where
what?
it just
What are you talking
appeared.
about technical magic? Technical magic from Terminator?
In Terminator
you-
2, the
you're saying
Terminator
that
is sent.
Terminator-
He's sent back in time through technology,
Yeah.
but the technology's not explained, so it might as well be magic.
Oh, okay, I get what you're-
Which is Arthur C. Clarke's third law: any technology sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic.
Well, and that's fine because that's the same thing with the City on the Edge of Forever. The Guardian of Forever has technology that we can never understand. Even Spock can't
Right.
understand it. So
He
it is
creates a
technically magic.
pocket. Sorry, Jill, didn't. He does so many things. He creates a pocket universe for the people from the landing crew to be safe in, while there's some sort of maelstrom of the change of history. They're isolated from the effects that McCoy put on the timeline, and he tells them that he's like, nope, you're just kind of here now, but everything else has changed. And they're like, could you fast forward? And he's like, nah, fuck you. And they
good luck being
tried.
stranded.
Yeah. He's like, I have been programmed to only play at 1/3 speed. And Spock's like, oh, damn it. And then the second time they rewind everything, Spock still doesn't record history. He's like, oh, we got to get ready to jump. It's a good episode, but what is it based on? Oh, that there are important points in time and history that draw you towards them. 12 Monkeys may also have done the same thing.
Well, I haven't seen
And
12
that-
Monkeys yet, so I'll have to bring that back around at some point. And I want to say hello to Nemesis of Eden. Hey, Nemesis. I know I haven't said hello to you yet. South Africa has a lot of things that can kill you, says Ariba.
Yeah. Yes.
If you eat it and you get sick, it's poisonous. If it bites you and you get sick, it's venomous.
Right.
Oh, that's a good point. Spiders are venomous, not poisonous.
I think I tried to say that. If I misspoke, I apologize. Thanks for keeping us up on the syntax.
Well, I didn't catch it either. Hello to Matt G.
Jill. I'm trying to imagine that in Shatner's
Stella's
voice.
ignoring me. Hello, Kronos.
We love you, Kronos. We love your avatar, and we love you. We love you in the chat, and we love that Kronos is one of the Titans who preceded the Greek gods.
Aribavel says, I don't want the spoilers. Is Friday spoiler day? If so, I'll make sure I get caught up before next Friday. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, what, SNW spoilers? Is that what you mean? Let us know.
Are you watching SNW? I didn't know that. I'm sorry that you
These episodes have already aired, but I'll keep it in my pants on that.
I thought that you couldn't spoil.
I don't know how you spoil a
Because it's
dream
already-
with no Well, here's the thing. I don't know how I spoil a dream that has no consequences, except to tell you that by the end, 4 out of 6 times, it's a dream that has no consequences.
Yeah, that didn't sound fun. Hello to Appion.
It wasn't. Hey, Appion, what's going on, buddy?
Congratulations on 1,500 subscribers.
Appion has been such a great asset. I hope he's available later for Saving Star Trek. You're invited, too. All are invited, of course.
Of course.
If you could come by, it'd be great to have you on Saving Star Trek
I'll
today.
see if I can, because after this stream, I got lots of family stuff, and then I got Friday Night Frolics. So if there's any point in between, I find myself doing nothing, I'll stop by.
If you can, it would be great to have you. You and I have not been able to be there at the same time in a while, but you did a great job with PDB. Did you see the views that got on Rumble?
No, I didn't, but I did have fun talking to him about the Orville. If it's the Orville, I'm going to have a blast.
Thank you for the 1,000 views.
You're welcome. Wow, 1,000. That's pretty good.
Yeah, people seem to like you in PDB. Not that they don't love the Admiral, but they liked that show. You, PDB, and Dark Helmet were really good. It was a nice change of pace, and we should all have friends that we could trust to hand the keys to. It's great that I have PDB out there, and it's great that I have Appion now helping me out, who's also just an amazing Star Trek mind, and an amazing assessor, and he's turned me on to the Pirates movies, which are a lot of fun.
IDIC, right? Many opinions in the universe. Yes, if you're enjoying it, then yes, I need to be more cognizant of the fact that if it's something that's relatively new, we need to have a spoiler alert. I do actually have a spoiler alert in my videos here, so like I haven't even used it in a long time though. I used to use it whenever I did new episodes of the Orville. No, see, I deleted my
Ari,
spoiler alert.
let me know about this. What episode in SNW are you up to, or do you need to marathon the whole thing? Because I could just cut it off and only talk about things you already know, or, I could be cryptic. Don't worry about it. I mean...
yes, and that's my fault for not respecting the show enough to say that I don't care about spoilers.
I'm gonna
but it
again
is important
quote
to me if my viewers care about the spoilers. So
right,
I do
and
apologize.
we care about the viewers, and we're very sorry, Ari. I'll hold off on that one, but still more than just about half a season left on Strange New World, so nothing to worry about there.
And hello to SP4H. Can't wait to see you later. Also,
SP4H was there last night for my walk of shame.
Oh right, yes. You were telling me about that. I wasn't around, so thanks for the notice on that. Franco Walker says I can watch anything if it's done well. Yeah.
That's how I feel about steak.
Oh man, you're a monster. You eat well done steak. Okay.
I eat well. I like fire.
Let's see. Oh, you know what happened yesterday was the moon landing 54 years ago.
That's right.
There's an interesting anniversary for us.
And who doesn't remember that those immortal words? We came here in peace for the good of all mankind, spoken to Earth by, was it Alan B. Shepard or was it Neil Armstrong? I think it was Alan B. Shepard made that transmission. Not positive. I remember the final moonwalk.
Oh, and the final one, and we've never been back since.
We're going back. We're going back this year.
When? This year? Who's going?
I'm going. I'm working on a device. No, I think we're going back in the next 10. The plan for the last 20 years has been to go back in the next 10. So I think we'll probably get there in this coming 10 years. Or Elon Musk is just going to go there.
Yeah, I was thinking Elon Musk, but okay, so there's no actual set.
There's no official set moon launch by anyone, but everyone has expressed we're going back. Although some country doesn't India have a moon mission right now? It just might not be manned. They're landing something on the moon as let me Google the Indian moon mission.
Everybody has moon landers. We're roving all over the place. That's not interesting. It is interesting. Rovers are a wonderful, fantastic tool for space exploration. But it's when we actually get our feet on there. Nothing replaces an actual human exploring things.
Oh, hey, get this. The Minister of India's NASA is quoted here by MSN. You ready? We know the moon's location. That's a quote. I'm not lying to you, Jill. I would never, ever do such a thing.
Why would that be a announceable thing? Like that?
You want people to know you know what you're doing. I mean, come on, Jill.
Okay, so... Okay, I have more respect for India than that. I would think that they know.
I have total respect for India, but I mean, this is blame Microsoft Network. Here, go. If you want to share my screen, there's the proof.
Yeah, that we know the moon's location. Ex-Pakistan minister's reaction to India's Sheridan mission. Well, okay, that's the headliner. That tells me nothing. I need to actually read the article to actually know what's going on. Because headliners are often very clickbaity, so that tells me zero.
Well, are you telling me that they don't know where the moon is?
No, I believe they know where the moon is. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I mean, this is a truthful headline. Oh, okay. Do we have the ability to have this read itself? That would always be fun.
I can read it myself. Just days after India sent another spacecraft. So this is from Microsoft Start? Does it say who the author is?
The author of this, and this is dated. Let me take a look. There's no date on this that I can find right now.
Microsoft in general. Okay, let's
it says Business Today, ex-Pakistan minister's reaction to India's Chandrayaan missile goes viral. We know the moon's location. It sounds like he just got caught turning a phrase poorly, but go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like somebody just went to astronomy school for the first time.
Or he's being flip.
Yeah, days after India sent another spacecraft to land on the moon's south pole, former Pakistan Minister of Science and Technology Fawad Chaudhry's old video interview on the previous mission has gone viral on social media. According to him, there's no need for the moon mission as it is clearly visible from Earth and its location is known. Oh, okay. He's saying that it's
I get his point.
To the moon because we know where it is, but that negates the actual benefit of true scientific exploration and advancement with which we have generated thousands of new inventions that have benefited mankind. So that's a very short-sighted, and you're right. He was being completely flippant and ignorant.
He seems to have been fired for saying things like that because he's the ex-head of their space program. They're like, okay, good. Idiot.
Yeah,
right. We also know which way to go up. To be fair, he's smarter than everyone in the fleet in Rise of Skywalker. He knows how to go up.
Yeah, well, I'm glad he's been fired. Where does it say he's been fired? I didn't...
Apparently, he's the ex-minister, right?
Oh, right, the ex. Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
I used the disclaimer, apparently, and I said, because he's making crazy statements. Are we in the right place for you to continue this if you want to?
Well, I would continue, but it has some language here that I don't know how to read. It has some Pakistani language, and
Wait. It says here quite clearly, Chanjo hai nahar jata hai exactly uskai location pata hata. Yeah. Sorry.
the moon is visible at its location. Oh, okay.
Wait, I'm sorry about that.
And
Go
its
ahead.
location is known, and what will be its altitude in which territory is also known. He said, all right. India Space Agency ISRO launched Chandrayaan-2 in July 2019. The mission in 2019 successfully deployed an orbiter, but its lander and rover crash landed during final descent. 4 years later, ISRO has launched Chandrayaan-3 to attempt a touchdown at the lunar South Pole, which is yet to be explored, and no spacecraft from any other country has landed there so far. So that's great. I hope they make it this time.
No diss on India, no diss on any other country, but you know what? We didn't have a problem, and we got one of these on Mars, so like we might be better at space exploration than some other countries, and I'm proud of that.
we got started first. I mean, well,
That's right.
Russia.
Well, no, Russia.
Russia got started first. But
Remember
we
the
got a
heady
lot-
days of Sputnik, Yuri Gagarin.
But we started around the same time. Chandri congratulated India for the launch of Chandrayaan. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing this 3, but his old take on the mission has left the people amused on social media. Okay, so scroll past the Twitter post because I don't care about that.
I believe it's the Chandrayaan 3. But why don't we call it Nomad?
Sure. I think that's the end of the article. Thank you.
Yeah,
There's
there's
nothing else.
a bunch of tweets and video. That's it.
Yeah, I don't care about the social media stuff because that would go into starting to look at video, and I'm not that interested in this anymore. Thank you. That was a good tangent to commemorate the 54th anniversary of the moon landing.
Well, what they say is the moon landing, right? We all know it was Stanley
come on.
Kubrick. I saw Tranquility Base through a radio microscope at University of Stony Brook. You could kind of see it. You could kind of see the stuff that we left behind. If they
Kronos
take that
says-
moon landing, they took it all the way.
Kronos says, "Who is eating while trying to talk?" That's Kronos. Later, taters. Oh, Kronos has to leave. Okay, I
Sorry.
hope you have a wonderful Friday, Kronos. And I know I'll see you around. Aribabel says we burned up 3 astronauts alive in the beginning of the Apollo program. So
Well, you know what? Let's remember something. Those astronauts were lost because of something that may or may not have been true. We saw it in The Right Stuff. Did you see The Right Stuff?
I haven't seen it, but I'll put it on my list.
It's a really great movie. What happens is they start doing the Mercury missions just to go around the Earth to see if we have the tech to even get to the moon. And they're testing stuff all the time. And when you're in that capsule, you're just a human being loaded onto a space bullet, right? So they come down to Earth. Gus Grissom has like the worst re-entry of anybody. It's like a freaking nightmare. His spaceship hits the ocean. He's completely discombobulated, cut off, and freaking out. And something goes on. Either his helmet comes off or he hits the door. Most people think he hit the eject button. And it blows the door off of his spacecraft, and it filled up with water and sank, right? So they don't let him meet the president. He doesn't get a parade like everyone else. But they also won't admit that their technology or their training could be wrong. So they changed over the escape doors from explosive bolts to electrical. So since the fire was electrical in nature, once it started, they were unable to open the door, and it was a very terrible, terrible end for Gus Grissom. And if he had lied about what happened, wow, I feel really bad for the other 2 guys. That was really sad, though. I remember when they announced that to the nation. Everyone was really, really sad.
I wasn't
If
born
you-
yet.
Do you remember when have you ever seen the Challenger speech from before you were born, too? Ronald Reagan
No,
says...
I should have watched that, but I do know
When
that
he-
Star Trek 4 commemorates it.
When he says...
Or not commemorates, but has a memorial for it. Excuse me, wrong word.
When Ronald Reagan talks about the mission, he goes,
We've never lost astronauts in flight before. You know, he makes that distinction because we'd lost astronauts. They are not dead. They've slipped the slurry bonds of Earth to touch the face of God. One of the greatest speeches of any president. That speech is just plain old inspiring. The future is not for the faint of heart. The future belongs to the brave. That was, wow. After seeing a space shuttle blow up, to see the president say that, it really meant a lot to everyone in America.
Yeah, definitely, because it's still an important mission to continue.
It's 2 minutes long. Check it out. It's great.
Definitely. Actually, why don't we watch it? That
We
can't
own
be
it.
copyright.
We own it. We own it. Actually, with news, after 3 hours, you can show anyone's news because of New York Times v. Sullivan. I'll pull that up for you if you want.
I got it.
Oh, wow. And then play George W. Bush's so we can see the difference in intellect level.
No.
It is easy to underestimate the difficulty of travel by rocket.
He says that, I swear, that's a quote. I'm only kidding. We'll watch the good one.
Okay.
I plan to address the nation about the State of the Union. When presidents
Let me know
were
if you can hear
presidents.
this.
Sure.
This is a Ronald Reagan speech from the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library for after the Challenger destruction tragedy. Let me know if you can hear it or not.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd planned
Fine.
to report
Thank
on
you.
the State of the Union. But the events of earlier today have led me to change those plans. Today is a day for mourning and remembering. Nancy and I are pained to the core by the tragedy of the Shuttle Challenger. We know we share this pain with all of the people of our country. This is truly a national loss. 19 years ago, almost to the day, we lost 3 astronauts in a terrible accident on the ground. But we've never lost an astronaut in flight. We've never had a tragedy like this. And perhaps we've forgotten the courage it took for the crew of the shuttle. But they, the Challenger 7, were aware of the dangers, but overcame them and did their jobs brilliantly. We mourn 7 heroes: Michael Smith, Dick Scobie, Judith Resnick, Ronald McNair, Ellison Onizuka, Gregory Jarvis, and Krista McAuliffe. We mourn their loss as a nation together. The families of the 7, we cannot bear, as you do, the full impact of this tragedy. But we feel the loss, and we're thinking about you so very much. Your loved ones were daring and brave, and they had that special grace, that special spirit that says, give me a challenge, and I'll meet it with joy. They had a hunger to explore the universe and discover its truths. They wished to serve, and they did. They served all of us. We've grown used to wonders in this century. It's hard to dazzle us. But for 25 years, the United States space program has been doing just that. We've grown used to the idea of space, and perhaps we forget that we've only just begun. We're still pioneers. They, the members of the Challenger crew, were pioneers. And I want to say something to the school children of America who were watching the live coverage of the shuttle's takeoff. I know it's hard to understand, but sometimes painful things like this happen. It's all part of the process of exploration and discovery. It's all part of taking a chance and expanding man's horizons. The future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave. The Challenger crew was pulling us into the future, and we'll continue to follow them. I've always had great faith in and respect for our space program, and what happened today does nothing to diminish it. We don't hide our space program. We don't keep secrets and cover things up. We do it all up front and in public. That's the way freedom is, and we wouldn't change it for a minute. We'll continue our quest in space. There will be more shuttle flights and more shuttle crews, and yes, more volunteers, more civilians, more teachers in space. Nothing ends here. Our hopes and our journeys continue. I want to add that I wish I could talk to every man and woman or who worked on this mission and tell them your dedication and professionalism have moved and impressed us for decades, and we know of your anguish. We share it. There's a coincidence today. On this day, 390 years ago, the great explorer Sir Francis Drake died aboard ship off the coast of Panama. In his lifetime, the great frontiers were the oceans, and a historian later said he lived by the sea, died on it, and was buried in it. Well, today, we can say of the Challenger crew, their dedication was, like Drake's, complete. The crew of the Space Shuttle Challenger honored us for the manner in which they lived their lives. We will never forget them, nor the last time we saw them this morning, as they prepared for their journey and waved goodbye and slipped the surly bonds of earth to touch the face of God. Thank you.
I'm still a little choked up all these years later hearing him say that.
And I want to say kapla to Bird of Prey 5. He has the dedication that is at the beginning of Star Trek 4. The cast and crew of Star Trek wish to dedicate this film to the men and women of the spaceship Challenger, whose courageous spirit shall live to the 23rd century and beyond.
And that's a wonderful promotion because it wasn't actually a spaceship.
It was a shuttle,
it was an orbiter. It was an orbiter. Well, I mean, it didn't go into space though. It went into high Earth orbit. I think we all get the sentiment, but just to be precise.
But that's kind of irrelevant to.
Well, I think they wanted to raise them up onto that level, like to call it,
absolutely.
They didn't want to say these hot air balloon space astronauts. They were like, their spaceship to them, And Star Trek has always had a special connection to NASA when they were going to do the space shuttle. And I remember this. People thought it was a dumb idea, and they thought, like, these things look like Explodo machines. We don't like them. And the government's like, they're perfectly safe. And the Star Trek people... Uhura, Lieutenant Nichelle Nichols was a spokesperson for NASA. I saw those educational films, and I remember when the public said, we're not going to give you any more tax money unless you change the name to Enterprise. And it was a big write-in campaign, and they did. I mean, they were still going to get the orbiter one way or another, but they wanted the public on their side. Mm-hmm. If you want to share the screen for a minute, though, I have the actual step down off the ship from the Smithsonian, so I think we own that one, too. Here we go.
What is this?
This is the actual step onto the moon as it was broadcast back to Earth. I turned off the sound because it's horrible. Let's see if we can maybe just get the quote. Yeah, you can hear how bad that is. But this is it, the actual first step onto the moon. And you can look how grainy it is. And by the way, he's holding on there because they told him to only put 1 foot down to see if he sank into and just kept sinking. They weren't sure if if the moon's surface would hold him. So if he holds on to that ladder for a while to see if he has any stability. And now he's down and he's saying, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And I met an astronaut from that mission. I met Buzz Aldrin. We'll let those momentous words hang in the air for a moment as I speculate we may have an audio problem again. What doesn't age well? I'm aging great.
Yeah, that's really great. What was that like?
To meet Buzz Aldrin?
Yes.
He was much more friendly to children than adults, as you would expect from somebody who was there in an educational phase, an educational role. It was at the Air Power Museum on Long Island, where I went to college. The first place I went to college at Nassau Community College now has an air power museum, and that's the vicinity of where they made the moon lander and all the other stuff was Grumman on Bethpage in Long Island. So Long Island, very tied to the space program. The lunar module was made there. So he sat in front of the backup lunar module, the one that we still have. They had to make two. So when there was a problem with one, they could work on the one that we had here and say, so we just did this, try that. There are two exact models. So he sat in front of the backup one signing copies of his book, Magnificent Desolation. And my nephew and I met him. And he was really nice.
Cool.
He was a little crazy, but really, really nice. Just like you'd want him to be. He was kind of Kirk-like. He was great. A real hero.
He's 93 years old and he's still with us.
And he wants to go to Mars, and he wants us to go to Mars.
Oh, he actually wants to go to Mars.
He would go tomorrow. Yeah, he would go tomorrow.
Wow.
Buzz Aldrin only got married this year.
Raquel SSG says, I have to get going. I have some tech stuff to figure out. Nice to see you all. Catch you later. Bye, Raquel SSG. I'll see you around. Thank you for hanging out.
Do you know Raquel? She's a pal of Appion's. She's really, really nice.
Oh, yeah. I've known Raquel for a long time. I've known Raquel before I even started the channel. Yeah.
Yeah, Jill knows everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, she's had her channel for years. So, yes, she's been around. I do know her. I do know quite a bit of people. Well, the coolest people, I guess.
Yeah, you were in the chat for Appion's celebration. And what an achievement for our pal.
Definitely. And she's been on my show, too, sometimes.
Who knows? She may get an invite to Saving Star Trek today. I know this. I don't want to talk about Strange New Worlds anymore after I get on there. We're going to do about 10 minutes in that. Appion has been great at memeing it. And he's like, this episode was a total fail. There's not even a meme in this one.
Wow. That's pretty sad.
We've mined some hilarious
it's so bad.
memes.
You can't even make fun of it.
Jill, you have to see Spock jamming tons of bacon into his face because
no,
he
you
has
showed
impulse
that.
control.
You showed that the other night. Anyway, I really am not interested. Human
Spock.
Human Spock that doesn't even exist eating bacon. What is the point of that?
They give you the merest, most paper-thin veneer of an explanation, too. It makes no sense. Just like it happened because it did. He's human because he's not Vulcan.
And yes,
all right.
Scotty R37 says Spock is a vegetarian. Yeah.
Not when he's a human. Not when he's a human.
Apparently, during this episode, nothing was reality. They were in some kind of dream, and he's like a human, and he's eating bacon. I don't know what the fuck.
It's okay, Scotty. Robert Meyer Burnett doesn't like Strange New Worlds either, so you don't have to watch it. But he said it sucks.
Scotty's watched 2 episodes. He didn't like one, and he liked the other.
I was the one, Scotty, I just asked, was the one you liked, was that the one where was that Charade, where the episode was properly named? It wasn't really Star Trek, it was a charade. And Spock, no, wait, that's the one where Spock is human and stuffing bacon in his mouth. I think that was the only... Right. That's the only one I enjoyed because I was laughing my fucking ass off because it was so stupid. The only way to enjoy this was it was so dumb. Maybe the one with the girl boss lawyer that's supposed to be court martial. If you liked that one, then I would say there's a show called She-Hulk you're gonna love.
That's the funny thing. Scotty R37 loves She-Hulk, so maybe that was it. Maybe he liked the courtroom drama.
You know what? It was just you could tell it was filmed so far apart because Rebecca Romaine had gotten some refreshing face surgery, like she had like a fresher facelift. It was freshened up. And she'd lost some weight and ditched her long figure-hiding jacket, and she had the pants and the shirt like the number one from The Cage has.
And okay. I don't know anything about anybody's facelifts or anything, but hello to Edge of Time, Filthy Friday. Yeah, right. We are talking about the filth right now. And R&B, Scotty R37 says R&B liked Picard. He is not the expert I assumed.
We went over that, yes. Yes, we said that he's equally clueless about Star Trek as even I.
Mm-hmm. Scotty R37 says, I do enjoy She-Hulk. I've never seen it, but Scotty likes it.
I don't even know if there's any way to debate that. Like, that's just like, I like this particular thing, it's like Sour Patch Kids candy or something like that. Like, I just like it. It's like, all right, I can't tell you you're wrong. Scotty knows how he feels with 100% accuracy. He's 100% right about his own feelings. And She-Hulk, I don't know about a show where in the 5th minute, she's already been flung off a cliff because she was cut off by a UFO, had a blood transfusion by mistake, and decides, screw the hospital, I'm going to the bar. I don't get it. And then she tries to murder a few people.
I don't know, but Scotty R37 has read the comics and he likes the show, and so that's good enough for me, I guess. I've never seen it, so I have no opinion.
Nerdrotic might take issue with that because he says the comics and he says the show is an insult to the comics, but I think that really the MCU hasn't been done right until Disney got it right.
So Dun Dun Ranger Power says, hello, Anti-Derivative Jill, Admiral Teague, and all. Hope everyone is well despite the passing of the legendary vocalist Tony Bennett.
96 is a great run. Rest in peace, Tony Bennett. I didn't know this, but I went to the Louis Armstrong Museum last week. He was also a painter. Some of his artwork was there.
Tony Bennett was an artist?
He also painted. He signed his paintings Benedito.
Wow.
There was a painting in Louis Armstrong's office, and it was by Tony Bennett, and it was a picture of Satchmo himself just hanging across from Satchmo's desk. So when you're Louis Armstrong, you sit at your desk, and by the way, he said he dedicatedly smoked marijuana all the time when he wrote, when he lived in that house in Corona, Queens, and you sit at a desk and you'd smoke weed and you would play your horn and write songs and record them, for sketching, as he called it, sketching out songs, and look at a picture of yourself painted by another really famous person. Isn't that cool?
That is pretty cool. Yes.
It's like William Shatner having like a poem about him by DeForest Kelley hanging across from his desk or something.
Oh, here we go. Are these for real?
There's been some sock puppet and troll stuff going on. Is that a problem? Is there something? Are you looking at the Tony Bennett pictures or something?
What are you talking about, soft puppet? What are you talking about?
Are you talking about in our chat, or are you talking about Googling something? Oh, the Tony Bennett pictures?
Yeah, I'm looking for his paintings, and so...
I would call him an interpretive artist more than it wasn't photorealistic, it was just enjoyable.
Yeah, this is cute. I like it.
I mean,
I can't do this. I can't do it this well, so I'm not saying... Let me see what else he did. Oh, this one's good. So he did a lot of... So, Kincaid, a bit. Let's see, what are the kind of paintings he did? Oh, look at this little girl, little princess. Okay.
So we could see them better because they're thumbnail sized on the. That one.
Yeah, I have.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was sending you a.
Oh, you know what?
Transmission.
You know what it is? Is that it's not showing up here.
Let me see if I can find the Tony Bennett picture of Louis Armstrong for you. Tony Bennett painting, because I think what's happening is you're getting pictures of Tony Bennett, aren't you? Tony Bennett painting.
Now, no, I got it.
Oh, you got it?
I hear a little bit of an echo for me, just a little. For some reason. Here we go. There's one. There's one of his paintings.
They're very, they're not overly complicated. They're pretty basic, but they're also, he was a decent painter. He was not going to be as famous as a painter as he was as one of our greatest vocalists, maybe the greatest vocalist.
Definitely.
They said he had been mentoring a lot of modern people to try to teach them how to have soul, inflection, and meaning in their voices because it's a lost art. Did you think that would be a lost art, sounding like you cared about what you sang?
No. Well, right, because there's a lot of modern artists who just use synthesizers just to... It perfects their voice, but it also saps the soul from their music.
Not to mention, the new thing is, and we saw this with Wakanda and other MCU movie commercials, you take a famous song and you do what you want with it, but what you do is you take usually a young woman You have her sing it without any enthusiasm whatsoever, and you just have one note, right? Then the bass note of the song, enduring on the synthesizer. So, like, let's just say like a D, like, don't worry about a thing. And it's just so lifeless and soulless and unmusical and low effort. And what Bob Marley and Jamaica have to do with Central African Wakanda, all these, it's low effort. They do the same thing with Come As You Are for another Marvel movie. So, I don't know if it's the people don't want to pay for the rights or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the low effort. Sorry, go ahead.
Scotty R37 says, "You guys mind if I join up? You should have the link, Scotty, in Messenger."
Yeah, there's a subspace message for you. You're calling that one.
Oh,
three options. Type what you want me to do.
Oh.
I'm game.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Why not?
Okay. All right.
Hooray.
All right. Let's all one. We're all one big happy fleet.
Hooray. Why not? Mark Harkness.
Why not?
SNW is like what I was just reading about when CBS took over Star Trek Enterprise. A whole bunch of meddlers wanted to put a boy band on Archer's ship. What? Oh my God! So they wanted to have
that's true. I think that's true.
They wanted to have their own episode, just like that hippie episode.
Yeah, but the thing is, we don't get to see Justin Timberlake in space anymore.
This way.
We missed our window.
We missed our This Way to Eden for the 90s. Oh man.
Oh, could you imagine? It's like Smash Mouth. It's like, hey, like instead of like being Herbert, what would they even chant? Like, imagine if the Space Hippies were like the band Disturbed. That'd be great. That'd be great.
That would be. I'd be fine.
We seek the Go ahead.
But Star Trek Enterprise is generally very good whenever it did a TOS callback. So the writers, if they were forced to do something like this, it would have been done with some amazing respect to the original episode, and it would be hilarious.
I agree. I absolutely agree. They would have, and the thing is, Star Trek Enterprise, is it a perfect track record? Do they sometimes have a reach that exceeds their grab? Yes, but a lot of people, including me, call it third best Star Trek show. Sorry, that's just me. Hey, Scotty.
Yeah, I like Enterprise. Hello, Scotty R37. So great. I'm so glad. I wasn't sure if I was going to see you today, so I'm so happy you're here.
I am pleased. Thank you. How are you guys doing?
Well, a little bit of mixed feelings here because Tony Bennett, some people here in the chat are just getting this news right now. And Sean Carter says, geez, I didn't think his passing would hit me like this. I'm so sorry, Sean Carter. And Don says, to be honest, the score and the restored Enterprise were among the few things I love best about the final season of Picard. And sure, not everyone.
No. The worst thing about the third season of Picard is the score, because it's all like when people complain about the member berries of Picard season 3, the most egregious manipulation of Star Trek fans is in the score. The theme itself is First Contact, which has absolutely nothing to do with the show, which is like the theme to First Contact. What is it about? What is that melodic joy about? It is the uniting of humanity and Vulcans. That's what it's about. I was so confused for so long watching such a bombastic action movie against the Borg. And I was like, why is this the theme? And the reason it's the theme is it is the national anthem of galactic unity.
It's actually...
And they're using it as like a fight theme.
I would just say this. The manipulation of the audience through the music Only when they bothered to throw us any music. Like New Jack tells us a bunch of shit about his life that's all messed up, and there's not one musical cue to help him out while he's trying to act. When they use music, it's like, all right, we're going to turn on our Enterprise. Like, shit, we have to pay for 8 measures of that song.
Well, but Teague, like, there's a moment where
well, they
Raffi...
they don't have to pay for the music, doesn't Paramount?
I think Jerry Goldsmith still owns part of his own music to the point where he gets some money, not like what you'd get if you were renting it, but he has it's his own work. He did it with Star Trek, just like you must pay Gene, you must pay Alexander Courage. You don't have to pay Matt Jeffries.
Well, except for the two.
Sadly. I don't think that maybe they have to, but I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't get paid for saucer-shaped ships with nacelles. He just, unfortunately, because he did great work.
Yeah, he did. He was incredible.
Like, there's a moment where Raffi and Worf are interrogating one of the changelings. I use that term loosely, whatever it was.
Right, they didn't really change. They didn't really.
They're more like the Kool-Aid guy, right? They're just liquid sloshing around inside of a suit.
Yeah. And when we did our reviews, Jill, you were not impressed with the changeling goo special effect.
No, they didn't do much of changing at all, and it was just because we're supposed to be impressed now that they can hold their shape longer, but it's not really impressive at all.
All those years of time to perfect technology, and they get to pull off that one little trick. Wow.
They did it.
Well,
yeah,
the reason why it's not, they made it worse because now they're not immortal. So
they made it even worse than that. We don't find out what happens with Amanda Plummer. We just blow her out an airlock without explaining what's going on, what that thing on her hand was. There was a good case that was a Pa Wraith, and then we just got this fucking nonsense where she shatters, and we move on, and we do a whole new story for the last 2 episodes. Where, what was it like on Earth when they turned on the Borgifying ray?
And you know what? I didn't even really like the Enterprise D bridge restoration because if Manny Kodo didn't cancel
Manny Kodo? Are you talking about?
Wait,
are you
not
talking
Manny
about
Kodo.
the other guy? Don't.
I'm sorry.
You keep Manny Kodo's name
You're
out
right.
your fucking mouth.
I love Manny Kodo. I'm sorry. Okay, so I made a mistake. If Les Moonves didn't cancel, if Les Moonves didn't cancel Enterprise, we would still have the Star Trek experience in Las Vegas, in which everyone could visit a restoration of the Enterprise D. And I'm sorry about misspeaking. Manny Kodo was made incredible contributions to the seasons 3 and 4 of Star Trek Enterprise, and we recently lost him, which is probably why his name was on my mind. And I'm sorry for the mix-up.
Jill's been hitting the Romulan ale to deal with the pain. She's a little scattered. Romulan ale no longer to be served at crew functions.
Only the size of my head.
Well, thanks for trying to come up with an excuse, but I actually don't have an excuse.
By the way, last night I was told by Gary that for me, intelligence is the undiscovered country.
But there is a moment where Raffi and Worf are interrogating the changeling, and she's trying to entice him with like space drugs or something. And she's
always got them drugs.
They use the theme from when Kirk and Spock from Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan are having a conversation about how Kirk should never have accepted Admiralty, and being a captain is his first best destiny. And I was like, why are you using that musical cue in this scene? It doesn't make sense. You are using emotionally manipulative portions of better scores to try and fit in like square pegs, round holes kind of thing. And I got so frustrated. And I was even on a Zoom call because I even though I have disagreements, I still consider Mr. Burnett a pal. And I was like, didn't you think
we all make mistakes?
Didn't you think that was fucked up? And he's like, I didn't notice it. And I was like, oh my God, I am an expert and you are not. And it was very strange. It was very strange because he's directed one of my favorite movies. So
I still like Free Enterprise. That
So
won't
do
take that
I.
away.
That's okay. He didn't write it. All he did was edit
Yeah, he
his
did.
way
He
into a
co-wrote
write.
it.
He edited his way into that. Well, he didn't. What else has he written? Show me his movie from this century.
Let's
I don't.
play
Let's
nice.
not talk
Come
about
on,
Rodoc.
let's
Yeah.
play nice.
I'm just glad I've met other famous people, so that Robert Meyer Burnett doesn't strike me as being important or necessarily relevant to anything.
Well, but also considering our relationship, you're a famous person that I know.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. As William Shatner's illegitimate son, it's a difficult burden to shoulder, but I thank you. And, what can I tell you? That Star Trek episode, that episode of of Picard, which is not Star Trek, it was so weird. And, let me just get this one out. That was the third different type of phaser and phaser effect and phaser beam that we had seen in 5 episodes. All we knew is everyone had phasers and used them a lot. The Starfleet phasers were a lot like Star Wars weapons. They threw out these bolts of energy that just passed right through the changelings or founders, whatever you want to call them. And then Worf, he's got his.
Anymore.
Okay, so
They're
that's
not
right. He's
part
a
of the
breakaway
domain.
group.
Yeah.
They're a breakaway group. Yeah, we have a lot of breakaway groups. Last time in Picard, we found out we had a secret society that was inside of a secret society.
Whatever.
Remember
You know,
that?
the
Jean Vache.
they completely destroyed the ending of Deep Space Nine. We know that Odo went to cure everybody, but this says that no, not everybody was cured, and now they're out for revenge or whatever.
Oh
Yeah.
no, that's not how it worked.
Oh, right. There were. Well, I'm partially correct in terms of that, but there were.
Partially correct means that you are somewhat incorrect.
Well, it means that I was leaving out the part where, for no reason whatsoever, we never heard about this before, but 10 of the changelings were experimented on based on the filth.
At Star
canon.
Trek.
Not
At Star
canon.
Trek's super focused camp, to say it mildly, by the worst evil doctor who would not have been dealt with lightly at Nuremberg, that doctor. What was up with the Federation being the problem again?
Exactly. And
Well,
so
yeah.
the whole thing is trash.
Section 31, fuck them.
It wasn't even Section 31. It was at the Daystrom Institute. They were just evil, non-ethical Federation scientists.
No,
Yeah, fair enough.
it was both. Yeah.
A group of
exactly.
ambitious scientists, Mr. Spock.
That's why I don't really even like talking about Picard, because it's somewhat legitimizing something that isn't legitimate.
I talk about it because it's a thing that exists that we can at least extract some fun out of and take the piss out of.
Yeah.
Because if they're going to insult Star Trek, here's the thing. I was around when we saw, and you can find this one, Gene Roddenberry saying numerous times, Star Trek belongs to the fans. So he could sell it to whoever he wants. He gave it to us first. I have a receipt that precedes Bad Robots. I can comment on it. And so can all of you. Yes,
I agree
exactly.
with
It's a big thank you. It's a big final frontier with room for all of us, especially geniuses like our pal Berta Prey 5.
Well, let's not go crazy.
He does think Deep Space Nine is the best Star Trek show, but there's room for reasoned debate on the final frontier.
Okay, let's go crazy. I'm with Bird of Prey on this one.
Voyager's a better Star Trek show. They go to planets and explore more. It's more Star Trek-like. Deep Space Nine should have been... What about this?
You're early in.
No, I'm in the middle of I'm almost at the end of Voyager now, Scotty. Thanks a lot
Really?
for
What
forcing me
season?
to marathon that. I am well past the Sarah Silverman 2-part episode. We have 7 for about a season now. I've got about 2 seasons left, but I will say this, they're more in command and doing more Star Trek-like things on Voyager than they ever do on Deep Space Nine. And I will also say this, I am ready to forgive a long time of weird Star Trek after I hear what might be the very best Jerry Goldsmith Star Trek theme that has me excited for action, adventure, sacrifice, loyalty, and friendship on the final frontier. I am. After I hear the Voyager theme, I'm excited.
Yes. Well, and I sort of have the same feeling watching Voyager as I do when I watch Quantum Leap, is that as soon as I get, even if I think it's some sort of homework or a book report or something that I have to do, as soon as I hear the theme song, I am invested for an hour.
Yeah, Voyager has a lovely theme. And I want to say hello to Cardinal Sin. Hello, Cardinal Sin.
Hey.
Yeah. And I'm looking
but
forward to the Voyager rewatch. I am going to be following along with Saturday Night Star Trek for my rewatch in particular. Except for tomorrow, I have my sister's birthday, so I might be missing Saturday Night Star Trek tomorrow. I'm not sure yet.
Oh.
I need to figure out how to watch the episodes in between the next 24 hours.
I am so happy they're finally on my turf on the Clobbering Times thing, because I'll watch Deep Space Nine after I talk to like Mark D or Hungry to give me a curated list of episodes. Fuck that. I am not watching 7 years of Star Trek that kind of led to bad places, in my opinion. My opinion.
Well, the first 4 seasons, they're pretty easy, and there's
good stuff.
Lots of good Deep Space Nine episodes after that.
There's a lot of good Deep Space Nine, but there's a lot of bad.
I don't judge it quite as harshly as they do in certain aspects, so there's a lot to love.
I find they're harsher than even I am.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. But definitely their opinion is legitimate because they are longtime Star Trek fans and they know what they're talking about.
Well, let's not go crazy.
But that's what I do.
Okay, you go crazy. But the thing is with Deep Space Nine, like you and I are in agreement about this, Jill, is that Deep Space Nine kind of gave us the greatest love of all in Star Trek.
Right. Worf and Jadzia, of course, was ended prematurely because Terry Farrell wasn't having a good time.
Right.
I would remind you that one of the greatest love of all time includes him being a scumbag to her on Risa.
Oh, that was
weird.
Episode. That was
let's talk. Okay, but the greatest love of all time included some of the most horrible things a husband has ever said to a wife or even any significant partner of any kind. No one has ever said anything that mean to anyone else. And Worf turning his back on the Federation and say, what we needed is more aggression. Come on.
Yeah.
That's specifically a very bad episode. So
that's my problem with Deep Space Nine is for every hot. No, I'm just saying that for every time we can name these highs they hit, I could say, what about this horrible Nader? You know, Deep Space Nine, very mixed bag. I'm an American. I say Nader.
Okay, there's more good than bad, I'd say.
This is just me. You ready? 51% bad, 51% of the time. I'm very sorry. It's just how I feel. It's real Star Trek. It's good Star Trek.
Well, you actually can't say that because you haven't seen it, but Raquel would agree.
With what I've watched, and I've watched, like, say, 2/3 of it, but I have to really rewatch it and pay attention. I'll give it a fair shake. I might change. It could change.
I agree with you that there are some times that the Deep Space Nine does swerve into a ditch, but I find Deep Space Nine's allegorical science fiction to be some of the best televised science fiction within or without Star Trek.
If I want soft magic in my Star Trek, I'll watch Star Wars.
I missed some of the conversation.
Oh no!
You're roboting, my dear. We missed the core of your sentence. I'm sorry.
Oh, can I tell a quick story?
Go for it. Jill's been having some on and off audio all day, so I'm assuming she's just dealing with it. So go ahead.
Okay. So have you ever seen the movie Midnight Run?
With Charles Grodin and Robert De Niro?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yes,
so
yes.
Anyway,
and I saw some of the show.
Well, and that's the thing. I'm glad you've seen the show. And it does sort of come back to Star Trek because we are talking about Lieutenant Castillo, who plays the main character. I don't know his name. Do you remember his name? De Niro's character in Midnight Run?
I didn't catch it. No, and I didn't catch
I don't recall
Lieutenant
either.
Castillo. You mean Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore?
Shooter. That's the guy.
He's in Secret Invasion right now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't subscribe to Disney Plus, and I don't promote any Disney stuff.
Scott
Jill will be back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, and you're an unlikely pair of people doing it live to keep her channel going. But you know what? We're going to be on our very best and trying to give you our best entertainment. There she is.
Jill, you have returned to us.
I have. My Ethernet is back.
So anyway, I ordered
wonky
Midnight
today.
Run, the Robert De Niro one. And then I was on like a chat group and it was like, does it include the Shooter McGavin versions? And I was like, F you. Now I have to find the Shooter McGavin versions. And for only $10 more, so $18, I was going to get it for $8. And so for $18, I have the 4-movie collection coming my way. Both Robert De Niro and Lieutenant Castillo. Richard, I believe his first name was. Tasha probably knows better than I do. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And I can't wait to, like, I may do a review. But I absolutely adore Christopher McDonald. I think he's a great actor. He was great in Quiz Show. I'm not going to watch Secret Invasion because F Skrulls is my answer.
You just described Samuel L. Jackson's love life in that show.
Oh, does he F a Skrull?
And what's weird is he doesn't say to her, like, look like Barbara Eden. He's like, why don't you look like a below-average looking woman?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to feel bad about making my shapeshifter wife feel bad about her appearance.
Wait, did you just call Barbara Eden below average?
No, I'm saying he chooses to have his wife be like an average or below average looking person when she could look like absolutely anyone.
Who plays his wife?
I don't know the actress's name, but I'm just saying, like, she's a typical looking middle-aged woman, whereas she could look like anyone. Wouldn't you be like, change your feet to normal feet and look like Brie Larson? Or, you know what, like, look like Barbara Eden, or look like Nichelle Nichols. Like, tonight I'm in the mood for Sherilyn Fenn, 1990, change into her. Like, why would there be any, like, you know, why do we need body positivity shapeshifters? It's just so weird. That's all I'm saying.
See, if you go back one, Jill, Yaphet Kotto, this is like Midnight Run is my third favorite Yaphet Kotto movie. Obviously,
I do not like him as Uhura.
No, he didn't look good in a miniskirt, but like he was amazing and in like, okay. So my number one favorite movie with Yaphet Kotto is Live and Let Die. My second favorite movie with Yaphet Kotto is Alien.
Agree.
My third favorite movie with Yaphet Kotto is Midnight Run.
So what's Midnight Run about?
It is
Bounty
about
Hunter.
Please, Teague, you go.
The jackhammer's going nuts. Why don't you tell her?
I thought it was a headache. I thought I had a headache, but it's you. It's on the sound. Okay. So anyway, no, it's about a bounty hunter who has to go and get a money launderer, an accountant from a crime boss. Like he has to go and get that person, and because they're on the run at midnight,
right,
and bring them back to justice. And so it's like a 24-hour. It's directed by the same guy who made 48 Hours, and I think Martin Brest also directed. Oh, I want to say the first Beverly Hills Cop.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It has a more serious tone than the other movies Scotty mentioned. This was a movie that was kind of a little bit getting into being a serious movie, but not too much. The thing is, Charles Grodin delivers a great performance, and it's just kind of funny. Like he's not like the worst criminal. It's like, what am I supposed to do? They approach me. They tell me if I don't cook their books, I'm in big trouble. They'll throw me in the river, so I just do it. And he's like, I don't feel like going to jail. I'm just going to try to split out on this bounty thing. And maybe the most important thing it does is it originates the idea that you wear a black leather coat rather than a black leather jacket, because he's like the first guy with the black leather coat rather than some kind of jacket.
It's a great jacket as well. I enjoy a leather jacket with lapels.
I see. Yes, he has he has a leather blazer. I don't like my leather coats to have lapels.
It is ostentatious.
Like on
Fair enough.
If I get a German Navy leather jacket, I'll get the lapels.
And then you'd have to get a submarine as well.
I have a starship.
Oh, what does God need with a starship?
I'll tell you later.
All right. But yeah, no, I'm really excited for this. So I'm going to be getting but then again, like this is all from the film, which is great.
Well, I love when you do a review because that means we might get a trials and a tribulation.
A tribulation?
A tribulation stream on the Phantasmaquarium.
But like Christopher McDonald being the main character, like that's what really intrigues me. Is because it was Christopher McDonald before he was Shooter McGavin, before he reached fame. And whether or not he has it now, I don't know. You'd have to ask him.
Well, yeah, I don't know either. Did he? Oh, they're on the train.
They are. There is like it's kind of like a buddy road movie.
See,
It's almost
a really good jacket, especially considering we're talking like 1989 or 90 here.
Oh, there's some behind the scenes photos too.
Jill, do you have a favorite Robert De Niro movie?
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Wait, that's Michael Douglas.
Produced, he wasn't in it.
I'm sorry. No, but that's sorry, Jack.
Yes.
Oh.
Nicholman.
Oh, Jack Nicholson. Yeah, Jack Nicholson. You're right. Robert De Niro is a different guy.
Mm-hmm. That's a different guy.
Go with Godfather 2. You're safe.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see. Let me see. I need a moment then.
Mine is Rocky and Bullwinkle. Speaking of which, I wonder how much that is.
I can pick a worse movie than that just to be a ballbuster. Yeah.
Yes. Got Piper Perabo.
That cannot be a good movie.
It is. It's fun.
I think that Rene Russo and Jason Alexander are good as Boris and Natasha.
It's oh my god. I don't know. There are a couple of movies that I think that Rocky and Bullwinkle is better than.
Well,
it's still a better movie than Star Trek First Contact.
Ooh, no.
We need to travel time. Oh, look, there's a time travel wake. That's not too convenient. Let's follow that. We already had a time travel technology. Would have taken them 1 minute. Let's just slingshot back behind the sun until we see the planet change back to normal, and then we'll know the event happened. No.
First Contact is fantastic because of the Phoenix and...
Yes.
How does Mr. Hawk change? What's up with Mr. Hawk's changing? How does he pull that off?
Well, one of the Borg uses the nano tubes.
How does he cut off his own arm and put implants on his face?
Carefully?
There's
in the
some
vacuum
problems.
Of space? Yeah.
Guys,
no, I get
I'm just going to say this one. The movie is okay, but it's really convenient, and it's not as good as it was fun. And we really set a low standard for Star Trek. When they saw things had changed, we're talking a change of pace in the movie of 90 seconds to make it that much smarter. Scotty, lean into this with me, right? Look, it's the Earth. It's all Borg. What can we do? I knew something from the old Enterprise log about a slingshot maneuver behind the sun. There's nothing else we can do. I can make calculations, sir, that we can find out when the temporal event that occurred happened. Make it so. And then just do that instead of, there's a wake in time that we can follow. That's not convenient at all. Let's do the hard thing and follow the wake in time that the plan B had a horrible hole in it. Get me out of here. And then we find out later there's like dozens of Borg cubes. And in Picard, why not turn on that fucking technology that they already had in place and turn half the planet into Borg when they attacked? That might have given them a tactical advantage. Previous events had made it worse, but it was bad sitting there in the theater. I laughed when they went in the temporal wake. I laughed in that movie theater the wrong way. And I was like, shit, this is Star Trek now?
I had an interesting Star Trek arm wrestle. I used to work at a place that had a movie theater, and every now and then they would let me and another man sort of choose the movie, and we decided that we were going to sort of put it up to the audience. We wanted to watch a Star Trek movie, and the options were First Contact or Star Trek 4. The audience chose First Contact, and so me and this other guy, we went up to introduce it, and he's like, so what? You seem a little like down. You seem a little out of it. And so the microphone turned on at that moment, and I was like, yeah, I thought we were going to watch a good Star Trek movie.
Way to go. I will say this, in context to seeing it in a movie theater, if you gave me that choice, I would be a little more hard-pressed to say which would be a better experience in a theater with an audience. But the greatest thing anyone can ever do, and if you get a chance, just do this. I've gone to see it twice in the last 18 months, is William Shatner live hosting Wrath of Khan.
Yeah. You've seen that a couple times. That's great.
It's just absolutely amazing. Mr. Shatner is amazingly generous with his time. He tells completely different stories every time you see him. He has amazing recall of everything. He doesn't sit down he talks for as long as the movie. But the other part is seeing Wrath of Khan with 4,000 Star Trek fans, and it's the best possible cut of the movie.
I haven't seen that. Where do you get that? Is that on physical media, or was that only in the theater?
No, you have to go to a
physical
theater.
Media. Oh,
You
yeah, the
get
William
Shatner.
Shatner tour. Yeah. Or, I mean, Jill.
Oh, wait a minute.
I
You
know
got
he
him
likes the
in person.
ladies. He likes the ladies. You got a chance of having William Shatner fly down there. He would want to meet you.
Oh, okay. Well,
No, I went to a
Just don't
theater.
go swimming with him.
It's on Fandom Events, right?
I didn't get the fact that you got to actually see him in person. That's
William
incredible.
Shatner has
you're
has
right.
been on tour for years doing the Wrath of Khan, and what happens is you see the movie, right? Usually in a Broadway style or Broadway size theater with 2,000 to 4,000 people, and you watch it, and the reactions of all these Star Trek fans to the movie is incredible, right? It's like seeing the movie again for the first time. People scream and ooh and ah, and don't get up out of your seat during the movie because people are just absolutely militant about it. And this is setting off when Khan takes off his mask and everyone screams. It's like the greatest thing. And then you get William Shatner.
And I love the way you describe listening to him, because that's exactly what I say when I see him at panels. When you go to panels and you feel like the actors who are talking about Star Trek have said these things hundreds of times over in the same way, almost verbatim, the same thing. But when you hear Shatner, you can tell that it is a little bit more natural, and he gets more rambly. It's more entertaining, and he puts on a much better performance in terms of talking to the audience.
The second time they chose my question to ask him.
Oh, you got your question.
What was your question, and what was his answer?
What was your favorite leading lady?
And what was
in Star
his answer?
Trek? All of them. He answered without answering.
I was inside them all.
I was not allowed to follow up. But I got to speak to William fucking Shatner.
Yeah, that's great, man. Like, that's incredible. That's like meeting a hero.
Admiral Teague from Queens. He's like, Admiral.
Oh, you introduced yourself as your YouTube.
No, I use my real fucking name.
It's Andy. Andy.
The things he had to say about Ricardo Montalban as a performer were enormously generous, and he apparently, whether they worked together or not, or they were on the shoot together or not, there were a couple of at least phone calls or some kind of talk of coordination of tone and stuff where they did get them on a three-way phone call or something, or he at least had seen what Ricardo had done, because he knew kind of what he had to work with in some parts of it based on the way he was talking about it. But it was just great. He was so generous to Ricardo Montalban, so generous to Walter Koenig, so generous to everyone except Sulu. He just didn't talk. He's like, I loved working with every single person, and I love all of them, and I cherish their memories, except for one, and I'm not going to talk about him anymore. Which is the way to do it.
And Jim's Landscape says, I hear a jackhammer in the background. Yes, you do. There's a lot of work going on.
That's just me furiously masturbating. I apologize.
I may not be able to do I don't know if I can do a show. They'd have to stop at 4. How late do you jackhammer for?
It actually isn't that bothersome to me. It is kind of in the background enough that it isn't too bad. You can forget about it.
Turn my mic sensitivity down a lot. I'm muting a lot too, like when he's really going at it, because it's shaking my feet.
I have so many dirty jokes, I cannot tell them all.
Oh. Edge of Time says, my date's breath smelled like dollar store Brett.
Nice.
That stuff.
I do. Your date, send her my way.
Dollar
you know,
store
and
fruit.
It's unfortunate that I assumed your date's gender. I apologize. I don't know what sort of mammal you decide to have the coitus with.
Well, he has a emoji of a woman, so I imagine.
Oh, well, then I would assume so. My mistake.
Don Don Power Ranger says, as I was stating, after listening to Ron Wasserman's score for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always, I thought it was a bit better than the score for the final season of Picard. I have not seen Once and Always yet. I realize that it is a callback to the original Power Rangers, which is the only one that I watched because when I was a kid.
Well, Jill, I have a question.
Sure.
Have you ever seen the movie Meet Joe Black?
I walked out of it after the preview for Phantom Menace.
Oh, dude, that's right. That was a thing. Why? It was Universal, though. It was a Universal movie. Why did they have a preview for Phantom Menace?
I don't know, but they totally did, and that's why it was the #1 movie in America that no one watched, and that's why it's on TV, despite the fact it's not terrible.
Oh, you know what? I have not.
It's a melodrama. It's a melodrama. It's a melodramatic romance. I just got it.
A lot of the movie is about if you really have to enjoy watching Brad Pitt do things.
Well, I enjoy watching people do things every movie I go to. But
I have not seen this movie.
This was the last time we ever saw Joey Lauren Adams.
No, it was Claire Forlani, but
is that who it is? Okay.
Yeah. So, but the edition that I got has the original 1934 movie Death Takes a Holiday, which I have not seen. It's a special feature on disc 2. I am so looking forward to seeing that movie. No one is in it. It just seems like a Turner Classic Movies old story, black and white, romance, whatever. Definitely. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Work 130 says, stuck at work, can't get away.
Sure you can. Leave. Just walk. Just go.
No, he needs to make some money.
Yeah, don't take life advice from me.
Please don't.
Please, whatever you do, don't listen to Scotty R37. He's an idiot.
Hail, fellow Chucker.
Hello, fellow Chucker.
Don Don says that Once and Always is streaming on Netflix. The Score album is a YouTube search away. Thank you. Speaking of the Power Rangers, it says Don Don, I wonder thoughts about the Hasbro's Cosmic Fury Morpher and the upcoming Ranger Academy comic book series. Plan to buy them? I do not plan to buy them. I'm sorry. But I hope you enjoyed them. I did buy the Orville comics. I still haven't read them. They released an entire library of all their comic books, and so now I have them. Because I like having actual books, so it's a collection. Don Don Power Ranger says, I plan to see Meet Joe Black at some point.
It's an investment, but I just recently rewatched E.T., and it made me feel emotions. And I've realized that the value of entertainment, in my perspective, is to feel emotions. I would very much like to feel emotions. It's very rare for me. And so when I do watch a movie, I want it to take me on highs and lows. And
ever since Scotty went and took the cinematic Kolinar ritual.
I did see Star Trek 2 in the theater, yes.
Star Trek 1, Scotty.
Well, no, but Star Trek 2 made me feel more feelings than Star Trek 1.
Okay, I understand what you mean.
Like, yes, the Kolinar, I believe you're referring to the Kolinar discipline, Doctor. But yeah, the one. Yeah, good call.
Would you please sit down?
Sit down. Eric McCormick does the best delivery of that line, better than Shatner. Thank you, Free Enterprise.
Yeah, I still have Free Enterprise.
I do too. I think it's really, really good. And it's got nudity, so...
I prefer Agent Cody Banks too. I feel is a better, more accurate representation of the man's art.
Why are you so obsessed with Frankie Muniz?
I like
You know,
Malcolm.
I don't think it's as good as Shark Girl and Lava Boy, but Cody Banks 2 is some good stuff.
All right, makes sense.
This certainly looks like a movie.
It does.
It's a movie. That's how I would describe it. That's the best way to put it. It's
No,
a
that's
movie.
my favorite. That's my favorite. Is Carol Colors assessment.
Can we just admire how good she looks in that T-shirt for a moment longer?
Yeah,
Don't
sure, why
talk
not?
like it's the first time you've ever seen boobs.
What makes you think of? You know, I'm looking at her shoulders. Thank you. I was admiring the tailoring, but yeah, take it to that level.
She does have very good-looking upper arms.
Yes, the cottage area of the woman's body is by far the most attractive.
Cottage, you say? Delightful, and how cosmopolitan.
Don Don Ranger Power says, I got 2 Orville products from Eagle Moss, the model of the titular starship and that of its shuttle. I got those too.
And here we have Claire Fulani as the titular model.
Yes.
Stop it. Boobs.
I'm looking at her shoulders.
Yeah, titular.
Now, see? Tell me you're looking at her shoulders.
Her eyes are up here, Scotty.
Well, I'm sorry. I wish I had feet pics.
So does Brie Larson.
Well,
Yeah.
this isn't a Tarantino movie. I'm sorry.
Have you ever seen Brad Pitt get hit by a car twice?
No, but I mean, I'd pay $20 for that.
Well, then that's the movie that you have to see is Meet Joe Black because he gets hit by a car twice. Different cars.
I might have stuck around long enough for the first time a car hit him. I watched some of the movie.
It happens in succession. It's not a long wait after he gets hit by the first car. He gets hit by another car. Like it happens like a pow.
I don't. Phantom Menace was a long time ago now. I went to see Joe Black and took an $8 beating just to see that trailer.
You know, nowadays they'd have to call it Meet Joe White.
Franco Walker
They would
says
have to call it Meet Joe Person of Color.
she has eyes.
I was just so busy mowing her box I didn't notice. Anyway,
The
I
eyes
do have to
have it.
go. I do have to go now that I've been vulgar to the extreme. But thank you for having me on, Jill. This is always
You're
a
welcome.
pleasure.
Thank you for stopping by today.
And Admiral Teague, if there is a hatchet
Hey.
anywhere that you'd like to bury, just put it in San Wataneo.
Yeah, that hatchet's in a shallow grave right now.
Fucking kill it with fire.
Good start. Yeah, good start. Ooh.
Well, it's typically pretty good on my channel. So
Well, I don't think I would ever take out my lightsaber here.
well that's
Yes, it's red. It's red.
Mm-hmm. It's red. And Franco Walker says, "Take care, Scotty R37." And so let's see, what else do I have for today?
It's great. Like sometimes it's perfectly quiet, and then intermittently it's like someone's landing a helicopter on top of my building. I have to like hit the mute right away.
So I was actually going to review Futurama, then I realized it's not out yet. So it's going to be the first episode occurs on Sunday. So I'm going to watch it on Sunday and review it next Friday.
Where are we? And by we, I mean you on TOS watch throughs.
The animated series? Oh no, wait, the original series.
TOS.
Okay. I am on season 2, and the next episode I'm going to review for the original series is going to be Journey to Babel. So that's a very important Spock episode. And so I'm excited for that.
Trying to remember. Yeah, that's the one where we meet his mom. Oh,
yes.
you have to see
and
Spock's mom now. Spock's mom now is all right. She's a lot younger than Spock somehow.
Well, I'm
A
not
lot.
worried about Spork's mom.
Oh, you know what? If we could get, you've got some good ones coming up. It looks like you've got what, Gamesters? Did you do Gamesters yet?
Not yet.
Ooh, a piece of the action.
Yeah, I still have Piece of the Action coming up.
I recommend that you Google cargo cults and John from America.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Well,
piece of the action is about the cargo cults that are military inspired in the South Pacific.
hmm
The British have them too. Did you ever see the Mel Gibson Bounty movie?
What's the Mel Gibson Bounty movie?
It's Mutiny on the Bounty with Mel Gibson, Anthony Hopkins, and Liam Neeson, and a lot of other people.
Oh, let's see.
It's really good, but what happens is a cargo cult is what happens when uncontacted people run into people from now. What happens is in the South Pacific during World War II, when it breaks out, we start building air bases everywhere. And on some of these islands, like Papua New Guinea, there were tribes of people who were uncontacted by modern humans, right? They'd never seen a boat or a plane. So we show up with boats, planes, and automobiles.
Mm-hmm.
And we have all sorts of great stuff, right? Like they've never seen before. So the only way they can contextualize it is silver dragons came from the sky, silver serpents came from the sea.
Yeah.
So at the
right.
end of the war, and so like our sailors go onto these islands, they trade with them, they give these people stuff. These people are giving stuff back to our sailors, and like they think that they're talking to gods, right? Because they have no context. And this happened by
because they see technology they don't understand.
They've never seen any of this stuff. They don't have fire. And like people are walking off boats, opening up a Coca-Cola, drinking it, lighting a cigarette, handing them another Coke. They don't know how to open it. They pull out something and open the bottle. They look at the cap and they're fascinated. They've never seen metal before. Like we're talking people with no contact. They were isolated on an island and all of a sudden it's 1942 from the Stone Age. Imagine that culture shock. So they're deeply, deeply shocked by what they see. When the Horizon shows up, is that the ship that shows up first? That they got that leaves the book. The book is left behind by the Horizon, so they're shocked. And when the uncontacted tribes in the South Pacific that Gene Roddenberry knew about because he served in the Pacific. He knows about this firsthand, and yes, it happens in Bounty too, because they take these people from the Stone Age to the 18th century, which was only slightly easier for them to understand. That's the Marlon Brando one.
These are that's the one that I'm looking at. This looks interesting.
How bad is the jackhammer?
It's kind of loud, but I'm.
Yeah, it's at maximum jackhammer right now.
Yeah, it's a little louder, definitely, but it's all good.
They're not wearing hearing protection either. They're crazy.
Wow. Don says Donnie has seen bits of The Bounty from 1984.
It's not exactly a fantastic movie.
Oh.
Well, okay, wait. They've turned off the jackhammer. Let me get this out before they turn it back on. All right, so here's the deal. We culture shock these people. We leave them with cigarette lighters and Coca-Cola and food that comes out of cans. Then the war ends because the Pacific War, World War II. Do you know how long World War II lasts after Pearl Harbor to the dropping of the bomb?
1950. I don't know.
39 months. We beat the shit out of the bad guys fast is basically the deal.
Oh right, yes, that makes sense.
As soon as we're,
yeah,
we lose for 18 months, right? Because we're not ready yet. But by the time we're ready and we've taken a few beatings, right? All we had to do was not get destroyed, and we almost do anyway. But once we rise to our full industrial might, we just start beating the crap out of them. Like we swat the Imperial Japanese out of the air. We sweep them off the ocean, and these bases get closed down as fast as they open up. And if you saw Baba Black Sheep, they lived on a base on an island, and some of these islands are volcanic and have their own fresh water, and they had tribes of people who lived on them. The Polynesian people who end up on Hawaii had a better version of the same island. Easter Island, better version of the same kind of island. So what happens is on these islands, when we leave, they start imitating us and acting like us in the hopes that they come back. Because what happened was, since they saw a man waving flags in the air cause a plane to land, and off of that plane came Coca-Cola, they want the plane to come back. So they dress up in U.S. military uniforms and walk around at the old bases waving flags, hoping the planes come back. It's called a cargo cult. And it's the belief system of certain parts of the world. They build planes out of bamboo, like on Gilligan's Island, to make a fake airfield, hoping that more will come back. I could show you some pictures.
Kind of clever, actually. Franco Walker says, I've eaten a Bounty chocolate bar. And Donnie says, I myself thought the Bounty was a pretty decent. And
it's not terrible.
Says, the jackhammer isn't too bad.
Thank you. It's really bad now. I have to mute.
Yeah, it came back. So, let's see. I have a list here. I don't know. Of some science news, but I don't know if any of these entries are any interesting in any case. Oh, let's share this one. Admiral Teague has pictures.
These are the Sigma Iosians. These are what inspired them. You see these people in these crazy mock military uniforms? These people are in the John Frum Society. These people are in the Prince Philip Society. If you had an American base near you, you worship the American people's technology. If you had a British base near you, you have a belief system built on the British technology. John from America is a Santa Claus-like figure. They have John Frum Day with a U every year. Prince Philip endorsed this belief system, and a lot of Star Trek planets are based on this. And the Iosians, they say they're highly imitative, so they've built a society based on the books the way these cargo cults exist. And we see how they're marching in military order here, with like these approximations of firearms. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, and they build bases. Here's a base.
Okay. Well, it just seems like they have a culture built around another society that they like, and they want to. I won't say cosplaying, but.
Here's the thing, Jill. They had a belief system. They had a belief system until the 20th century shows up on their doorstep and changes everything. They abandon their ways, and their culture somewhat becomes lost when the 20th century shows up there. And look at this thing they made.
Oh wow, that looks like a satellite. That's pretty cool. That is so artistic. Obviously, it doesn't work or anything, but it looks really neat.
Well, how do we know it doesn't work? We haven't tried
That's true. That's true. It could be connected.
See them do it, reenacting the ritual to see if the planes will come back with more prosperity, and see how they've built the plane here to try to attract more. And this is the wreck of an actual plane. But here's some John Frum Society people. We see some of the same pictures. This looks good. This is one of their planes that they built. Crazy stuff, right? And this belief system endures.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I hadn't heard about this. So
that inspires a lot. All those Star Trek societies that are contaminated, like even stuff like the Pakleds are a cargo cult. But the Sigma Iosians are the most cultish of the culty with that.
Well, but the Pakleds can actually take your technology and make it work, make it go.
What are the well? Doesn't Kirk say that the Iosians are going to do that in a few years? Right? He's like, they may come to us, and that's basically what the Pakleds are. They're the Iosians in space. I mean, they're not as smart. I think the idea is that with the Pakleds, it was like we gave paleo humans a spaceship.
Well, they were deceptively smart. Like, they weren't intelligent, but if you're able to hobgoblin or if you're able
They
to
are
bring together,
violent.
yeah, they are violent. And if you're able to bring together all of these disparate technologies and make something that actually flies, then you can't really be that stupid. So their whole gimmick that they're idiots is they're making themselves dumber than they actually are in order to trap
And their
ships in order to steal their technology.
And their Star Trek origin story is a worthy novel. Who did this to them? Was it the Ferengi? Was it the Romulans? Oh, you can have this attack ship with some capacity if we can have like mineral rights to your planet. And they're like, we don't care if you dig holes. We just want to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
And can you imagine the kind of species that the Ferengi themselves, the Pakleds might have conquered? Because the Pakleds are going to base themselves on whoever contaminated their planet based on the Star Trek cargo cult principle. And that's just a theory. You know, no one in Star Trek's going to come out and confirm this. Although I do think we have confirmation on the Iosians being based on Pacific cargo cults. But once I showed it to you, wasn't it kind of obvious, right? Like, it doesn't fly in the face of what I showed you.
No.
Yeah, so they got that one book off of the Enterprise, off the show Enterprise. Remember, we see it.
Mm-hmm.
We see the book. We see the book on Mayweather's father's ship, the Horizon.
Oh, yeah. And Donnie says, with your approval, I thought I'd share with you something a fellow YouTuber and Power Ranger fan of mine has. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, you have a wrench, so you can post links. Thank you, Donnie. If anyone's interested in Power Rangers, there you go. At full belt, the jackhammer wasn't too intrusive. We could still hear the Admiral. Yes, you were louder than the jackhammer, so that is what is important.
Was I too loud as well, or was it just like?
No, it was just fine.
I took extra care. Like, my microphone has like volume control, so I didn't realize this, but at 100%, it's like at 200%. So I had to
exactly.
like
So
mess with it.
I can also adjust you, so it's you're always okay.
When it's really bad, I just mute a little.
Mm-hmm.
Something weird about my show, no. I have to think about that one now. Why don't we take a vote? Should I do my show anyway, people?
Okay. I think people are going to want to do your show, but if you want,
how long can they break up the sidewalk for? It's like 84 degrees outside. How many hours a day can they possibly spend doing this? And you know what? If they won't stop, I got a bat. Admiral Teague's part Italian and owns a baseball bat. I could go be persuasive about how you need to knock it off with the noise.
Mm-hmm.
This does not.
Oh, Hark 130 says, observation: Scotty needs a girlfriend. Just saying, this is true. And
Yeah.
he's looking. If you know.
Well,
anybody.
you know, I have a gently used life-size Gina Carano inflatable action figure that he can, buy if he wants.
He's not the only one, Herc, says Franco.
Gently used.
No, I don't know. You'd have to ask him. But he needs a 3D girlfriend.
She's 3D.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well,
but she doesn't talk back. She kind of likes conversation.
Yeah, no. And you know what? I give her space. This sounds messed up. How do you pee?
What?
How do you... These volunteers will stay in bed for 2 straight
Oh.
months. Yeah, no, I know how you pee, most likely, unless there's something about you that's highly different from most people.
Okay, so this is news from a couple of months ago. So I don't know if this research has been completed yet. 60 days. I don't think it may June, July. It hasn't been. It hasn't
News
been
of the world.
It hasn't been 60 days yet. So this has not been completed. But 12 people are currently sleeping. They're embarking on the longest sleepover, all in the name of space research. The group are confined to beds to mimic the rigors of space for 60 days straight. Some of the volunteers will also be testing strategies to help reduce the bodily strain caused by lack of gravity, such as exercising while being spun around in a centrifuge. And so it's funded by France's space agency, the National Center for Space Studies. The study is being conducted at the Institute for Space Medicine and Physiology in France. So this is a France study, and perhaps surprisingly, it doesn't take much for the bed to become space-like. The volunteers will spend every waking sleeping hour on a bed elevated 6 degrees below horizontal, feet side up, even while showering and using the toilet. There you go. As a cardinal rule, at least one shoulder will have to remain on the mattress no matter what. This forces blood and fluid to rush to the head, and coupled with the constant bed rest, will eventually cause a person's muscles to atrophy. The same major problem seen with long-term space travel.
Aren't there, to be honest, isn't there data from handicapped people that's readily available? This sounds kind of, I mean, go ahead. It's not my tax money, it's France, but
Yeah,
strange.
France
It's
is
a
doing
strange,
it is
it's a
kind
very
of
strange experiment.
Yeah, that's why it caught my eye. I was looking for something interesting.
Good catch.
hmm And it's difficult to live stream and research at the same time.
Yeah, tell me about it. I know
Oh.
that feeling.
Oh man, I want to show this
And,
video, but it's not
and
my
by,
video.
and by the way, I didn't get to say this before, but it's actually the First Contact theme, in my opinion, is actually not the theme of the Vulcan human First Contact. I believe that theme is an outro theme that is bringing us out of the previous movie to let us know that we are in fact still in the Nexus.
Mhm.
Where does it say that it's not? I have the same justification as New Trek. There's nowhere that says it isn't.
Well, yeah, that is a theory.
Show me a picture of where they said it isn't true.
But I don't exactly have as bad of a view of First Contact. It's the best of the TNG movies in my view.
It's an exciting action movie that has something to do with Star Trek. If you look close enough, there's an aesthetic of Star Trek there. They keep it out of things that you know what it is? They make sure not to throw people out of it by having it be overly smart or having anything that made a lot of sense or by having people think too much. What they did was they just like, how do we do this conveniently fast and not take people out of it? Well, we go back in time and we have a temporal wake, and so they just sail back through it too. Okay, great. It's a little dumb. Don't worry about it. Star Trek fans don't expect good. We just want people just want to see us shoot 'em up. Now, when John McClane,
that's a Hollywood kind of thing, not really a Star Trek thing.
When John McClane, I mean Jean-Luc Picard, he was treated exactly like John McClane in all of those movies. It was silly. They weren't that good. First Contact's enjoyable. I won't say it's not enjoyable, and that's the closest we ever get to them acting like an ensemble ever again.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. What's going on? Oh no, I don't want to create an account. Dang it. I have to create an account with Scientific American in order to read this article. This is bonkers.
I just so happen to be... No, just kidding. I don't have an account.
Oh, I actually already have an account. Okay, let's see if I can sign into it. Yeah, I can. That's weird. All right, but I'm not going to subscribe. Don't make me subscribe, otherwise I can't read your stupid thing. All right. Here it is. So, this looked interesting to me, and it's more of a recent article from today by Jonathan O'Callaghan. Nearby supernova gives unique view of a dying star's last days. Astronomers are piecing together the final moments of a supernova 2023 IXF and learning more about it than any other in recent history. So, every 10 seconds, somewhere in the universe, a star explodes. The light from a small fraction of these supernovae, roughly a few hundred per year, reaches us here on Earth to be pored over by astronomers. Studying supernovae is vital to gaining a deeper understanding of the cosmos because they spew forth radiation, dust, and gas that help sculpt galaxies and form new stars and planets and enrich the universe with heavy elements. And so let me read a little more through here. Earlier this year, astronomers spotted a supernova erupting just 21 million light years away. a stone throw in the 94 billion light year width of the observable universe, making it the closest one seen in Earth's decade. Thanks to the star's proximity, astronomers are now piecing together its final days in lavish detail, yielding fresh insights into how these astrophysical cataclysms unfold and shape the cosmos at large. So, okay, so it was a Japanese amateur astronomer, Koichi Itagaki, and he was the first to see it. To see the supernova SN23 IXF, 2023 IXF. So that's why it doesn't have a name that we like, a nice name. It has more of a designation name. So this isn't the Betelgeuse that everybody was excited about to see, because Betelgeuse would be able to see the effect of the supernova in the sky at night.
It wasn't the flash everyone's excited to see either, was it?
No, but it's something that the astronomers are able to see with their telescope and study. So that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Mm-hmm. But I think it's a bit early to see exactly what they've learned from it. There had previously been some debate too as to whether this ejected material would form a sphere around a star or some more asymmetrical shape. The results for 2023 IXF suggest the latter, marking the earliest ever detailed glimpse scientists have obtained of the rapidly evolving interaction between a supernova's shockwave and the surrounding circumstellar material. Let's see if there's anything else interesting here. Pulsations and supernovae are not thought to be directly linked. And you can read more about this if you want at a later date. And I'll read the last paragraph. Supernovae 2023 IXF may give some much needed answers on the matter, among the other particulars of how a red supergiant star collapses and ultimately explodes. We can really test whether our picture holds up from end to end. Bostrom says, short of seeing a supernova in our own galaxy, every modern astronomer's hopeful but as of yet unrequited dream. This brief spectacle in the Pinwheel Galaxy. This is the information I wanted at the beginning of the article. Where was this thing? In the Pinwheel Galaxy, guys. May be the best opportunity for many years to come to test contemporary models for Type 2 supernovae and better see the creative destruction unleashed upon the cosmos. This is being studied in such detail with such precision. It's really going to be one of the best studies supernovae of the 21st century. So that's really great. And that is a good way to describe a supernovae, creative destruction, because of course the star explodes, but it also releases all of the elements that create the matter that we have in the universe. So we are all made of star stuff, as Carl Sagan likes to say.
And Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
That would be the day.
That's the lyrics to the song. We are star stuff. We are golden.
Mm-hmm. Franco Walker says, cool. I look forward to Anton Petrov or Dr. Becky doing a video about it. Yeah. Yeah, it would be really neat to see a video about that. And so... And then something else I enjoy doing is looking at odd news. See if there's anything good in odd news.
I just get out of bed and start walking around, and it's odd news in my environment. I live in an odd place. Think about it. One of the people who lives here is me.
Well, that's true. You create your own odd news.
You get a cloud of oddness around Admiral Teague when he leaves his odd home.
So I guess in Florida, I guess this isn't a common occurrence in Florida. An alligator waits for a ride at a Florida bus stop. I figured this.
No, that's common.
Yeah, I would think this is common, right? A Florida bus driver got out of their camera instead of opening the door when they arrived at the bus stop, occupied by an unusual commuter, an alligator. Why did the alligator cross the road? The alligator was not allowed to board the bus, but was instead escorted to a nearby woods by Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation personnel. That is silly.
That is some weird stuff.
That odd place is called Earth.
That's, destination of both the Galactica and the Voyager, people.
Well, Vidra will be back one day, looking for its creator.
And not to mention the the ocean draining whale probe.
Do you think the whale probe will be back? I don't know if it has a reason to come back. It came to talk to the whales, and the only way it'll come back is interested in an update.
Well, Jill, all I could say is I come from what you would call the late 23rd century, and I need your whales.
Yeah, and that's about all we know about them. And they get to talk to the whales. And we don't even, well, I guess it's fine that we don't get to hear their conversation or understand exactly. We hear it, but we don't understand it. I guess
better for me, better for them, better for everyone.
Probably. The crew saved Earth. That's all that matters, I guess.
It kind of it really exposes the idea that so long as when you do time travel, as long as it's immersive and doesn't throw people's brains out of it, it's just fine and it doesn't really matter. And it's not something you have to get too hung up on. Like I said, no one ran out of Terminator 2. No one ran out of Star Trek 4.
Well, Star Trek 4 is my favorite movie, not just my favorite Star Trek movie.
Really? That's your favorite movie? You know what? I love that movie, and I will say this. I like how Captain Kirk deals with time travel.
Me too.
I like how he's like, well, if we've already been here, then it's already happened, and it won't matter. And the rest of the movie just proceeds without us having to worry too much, because we give Captain Kirk the trust his crew does. Like, oh, he must be right. He's Captain Kirk.
Oh,
that is a great movie. And think about
it. Really
a sci-fi
I need to do a review of it.
Think about it, Jill. A sci-fi movie with no space battle at all.
Yeah. Well, that's what's great about it, because it's focusing more on the adventure of trying to save Earth, and they do it.
When I was trying to explain to Appion what made it special, what I said, he's like, what's so great about it that makes people love it? I said, because that's like our only Star Trek movie where the stars of our Star Trek movie are actually our Star Trek stars instead of any one particular other person. Like, it's not Ricardo Montalban's movie, and it's not any one of their movies. It's not a movie that's mostly about Spock or mostly about Kirk. This movie is about the actual members of our crew, and the stars of Star Trek are the stars of this movie in a way that they never are before, outside of Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. It's everyone else's movie too. The nuclear
exactly.
Wessels.
It has incredible moments for everyone. Yes, even the side characters, definitely. That is so great.
They're so brilliantly made. It's such a great movie, and I love when they've got Chekhov in the in the hold of the Enterprise, and for some reason, his tech doesn't work. I wonder if it's the EMP down there. When he tries to hit them with the phaser.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Maybe it's because he's near the nuclear energy, and they're talking about how it's a little bit unshielded and a little bit repulsive about how raw. Don't they say something about how what they're doing and harvesting it will make it less messed up?
Oh, right. And they won't leave behind any toxic waste.
Right. So maybe, I don't know, it was the kind of, it doesn't make sense because it would mean their weapons were less hardened than ours. So what I would say is this. It did something that messed up the power signature of the Klingon weapons because they don't have their Federation stuff. He's got a Klingon disruptor pistol. It's like a little box. It's not the Starfleet one. And right. Kirk also has a Klingon weapon when he seals the operating team in the room.
Yes, because that's the ship that they're on for the movie.
Or maybe it's Vulcan because they've been on Vulcan for a year.
Oh, hey, hello to James Caserta.
Hello.
And so today was just a fun shore leave, just to talk about whatever we wanted to, and I think we did that. And so thank you to Admiral Teague for joining me today. I definitely need someone to talk to, and you were here, so I appreciate you being here today.
I kind of need the same thing. Do you think you could stop by later, like after you got some time? Like, I'm on for a few hours. If you could come by for a little bit, it would be appreciated. But if you can't make it, you can't make it. Who is calling me now? I have to check this phone call.
Okay, and the next TOS episode is going to be Journey to Babel, but the last one was...
You bring this network's ratings down, Flavius, and we'll do a special on you.
Bread and Circuses was the one I just reviewed, and it was one of the first ones that I didn't really ever remember seeing before. It's great. Parallel Earth. Yeah, it is.
Do you know it was the highest rated episode that season and the only one that wasn't rerun over the summer?
That's weird. Wow, no, I didn't know that.
Because the network thought it was about them.
Oh, that's why they didn't replay it?
They thought it was a shot at network TV.
Well,
and it kind of is.
They were right.
But they were like, fuck you, Roddenberry.
I thought it was
Isn't that great?
They had a soundboard with the cat calls and the applause and everything, and that was hilarious. And so I'm going to
and very much love when Star Trek shows us the future, because there we are. It's the Hunger Games, and it's kind of reality TV.
Mm-hmm. And so I'll leave you today with the preview for the TOS episode Journey to Babel, and I hope you guys have a wonderful Friday, and I hope you guys had a little fun here today.
I've grown weary of discussion and argument.
And so have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.
Nice to see everybody.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Captain's log, stardate 3842.3. The Enterprise has been assigned to transport ambassadors of Federation planets to this vitally important council.
Mr. Spock, we'll leave orbit in 2 hours. Would you care to beam down and visit your parents?
Ambassador Sarek and his wife are my parents.
We favor admission.
You favor? Why? You call us thieves?
Devote yourself to motivations of passion or gain.
My father is quite capable of killing.
Oh, go to him now, please.
I cannot.
Doctor, his heart stopped.
I'm so sorry, James Caserta just got here, and I'm already ending the show. But he says he was watching Hoarders, and I just wanted to
Good
give him
show.
a minute that I like to watch Hoarders in order to inspire myself to clean up and get rid of stuff I don't need. It is very
Yeah, I
helpful.
start cleaning my apartment. I start cleaning while I'm watching.
Mm-hmm. It works. It works really well.
I just bought a whole bunch of cleanser and soap and other cleanup stuff from the hardware store this morning.
Mm-hmm. But now I need to find a different video to end on. I haven't played this one in a while. It is of Nana Visitor talking about what Star Trek needs that it currently doesn't have. She doesn't exactly say that, but she
I
kind of
endorse that
implies it.
pronunciation. That pronunciation it turns out to be absolutely true.
Yeah, it agreed. And I learned from the best. See you guys later.
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to one of your original questions. What was so good about what did Star Trek do right? And Andrea Kindred was, I think, the executive assistant to Gene Kuhn on the original show. And I recently got to interview her, and she said something that I think was so important. Someone asked her what was the best thing about Star Trek? And she said, it was entertaining. So it allowed a huge number of people in to listen to new ideas and concepts. I wish some shows remembered the entertaining part.
Yeah.
You do need to welcome people in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.